And we say good morning to you. We are broadcasting live on the road today. We are Chick-fil-A in Johnson City on People Street, right beside Best Buy on this beautiful Wednesday, August the 26th. Show number shown on the screen, 2561. On our way to 2600 on a gorgeous Wednesday and talking to the folks at Chick-fil-A. The chicken and waffle sandwich is flying out of here. They are selling them like hotcakes, almost like hotcakes. Or waffles are not pancakes, but they're waffles. Two waffles in between with the chicken patty, and you can get it spicy. It comes with a packet of maple syrup they call classic syrup. So it has been a big, big seller. And so there you go. That's and the s'mores milkshake, the caramel coffee, the three new entrees at all Chick-fil-A's and going great guns. So good morning to you. Thanks for being with us. We've got Andrew Smith joining us coming up in a few minutes. Sports writer from the Johnson City Press, Kingsport Times News. We've got Micah Hughes, the head football coach of Providence Academy. They go to Twin Springs in a big win the other night for his first win as the new coach for the Knights. He'll be joined with Coach Morris coming by too. So we're going to meet both of these. We've already met Coach Moore. Going to meet Coach Hughes, brand new coach. Exciting, of course, taking over the Providence Academy football team for Daniel Kilgore, who went back to DB. And also Dave Angie, who used to be a sports writer for the Johnson City Press, Kingsport Times News, took another path in career and came back to the paper, and we've got him coming on too, so we're very excited. The SEC and the Big Ten got it right. Finally, somebody, I think, finally stepped up and said, okay, enough's enough. So we'll tell you all about that. Let's get it going here with the national anthem on this Wednesday. We are already in our country, and more importantly here in the region, Miss Dolly, in a better place, absent from the body and present with the Lord. So the minute she drew her last breath, she's there. So Dolly Parton gone, we knew that, and so, I mean, what an impact this young lady had. 80 years old, and just it has been nothing I can add to anything's been said so far except a tremendous loss and a great example of what we need to do just to be nice to people. And that's what she said. It's easy to be nice to people. And she was to everybody. You got the impression, I never had the privilege of meeting the young lady, but you got the impression that whether she ran across a janitor or a president, she treated them all the same. That's what we're supposed to do. So, because the Lord died for all of us. All right, Kingdom Heirs, here we go. National anthem on the Tom Taylor Sports. Don't get into the Big Ten or the SEC. I think finally stepped up and showed they had some intestinal fortitude. Made a decision. Now, how long it's going to last? You already got Lane Kiffin questioning what the decision was, but we've got Ryan Day at Ohio State questioning what the decision was and how long it'll stick. But we'll see. Here we go. Kingdom Heirs on the Tom Taylor Sports.
One, two. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Do you want new furniture but don't want to wait a year for it to come in? We have the largest in stock and ready for delivery or pickup inventory in the tri-state area. Shop today and enjoy it tonight. It's that easy. Bring your truck today or have us deliver it. Save store-wide at Cannon's Furniture in downtown Elizabethton.
And back at the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Thanks for being with us. We are live here at Chick-fil-A in Johnson City on People Street. All right, so yesterday, Big Ten says no. SEC says no. I like it. I applaud them. Hit the bell. I applaud them for what they finally did. To me, they show me some, as I said, intestinal fortitude. Big Ten came out yesterday and says they passed a rule after meeting yesterday that forbids players from returning from the NFL to play for a Big Ten program. I love it. That's the way it should be. Any underclassmen who declared for the NFL draft and did not withdraw, sign a contract with a pro sports league, or officially on a professional roster is prohibited from returning. Hello, Floyd Nave. How you doing, sir? And Brenda Hatfield. How you all doing? Thank you for watching. Hello, Vista Clark. How you doing, lady? The decision arrives amid growing legal uncertainty and a recent push. We've talked about this since Friday. I'm tired of talking about it, but the season starts this week, starts tomorrow night for some of the teams, including some of our local teams. We're still talking about this, and it's not going to go away. But I'm kind of tired of talking about it, but it's newsworthy. The decision arrives amid growing legal uncertainty and a recent push from former college players seeking another opportunity in the transfer portal. So here's what Ryan Day says, head football coach at Ohio State. Kind of a mixed signal, I think, but this is what he said. Quote, I told myself I would stop saying this is crazy, so I'm not going to say that, Day said, getting the head coach at Ohio State. But to think that we're in a situation where we're this late in the season and our rosters are not locked in is frustrating at the very least. That's what we talked about. So what does that mean for us? That's the bottom line. In my opinion, the conferences have to decide if there's a point where the rosters have to be locked in. Well put. He's right. Because once some of these guys become available, adding them to the roster is going to provide an advantage for certain teams. He's right. The guys that are coming back are really good at what they do. They can play. We know that. So it's not like these guys are duds. These guys are 4- and 5-star players. Trent Hendrick, going back to UCLA, the Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Year. These guys can play, and they're going to add instant credibility / success to whoever's team they come on. So I get that. Ryan Day goes on to say, so we're certainly having conversations. I've had conversations with the Big Ten commissioner. I know he's all over it, trying to do what's best for the conference. Now, here's where it gets a little murky. This is Ryan Day. The rest of his quote says, but we also, if there are teams that have some players out there who are cut from NFL rosters, they're going to be on other teams. We at Ohio State at least have to consider it and look at it. Do I like anything about it? Absolutely not. But we got to do what's right for Ohio State to win football games. So it's sort of a day-to-day thing right now. Like anything, we're just going to try and adapt. So we don't like it, but if they're going to be out there, we're going to go after them. Is basically what he said, and I get that. Now, Oregon's coach Dan Lanning, even more negative opposition to this. He says, quote, this is the Oregon coach. I think there's a lot of negatives that are involved around this. Number one, once you go to the NFL, to me, you're in the NFL. You don't get an opportunity to come back. I agree with him. Two, most of us have built our rosters. We have a limited roster now. Now, this is what I talked about on Monday and on Friday, and I'm right. So if you invite somebody back to your team, that means you're kicking somebody else off your team to match your roster limit. Don't think that's fair. Hello, Vicky. How you doing, lady? Don't think that's fair to players who worked all summer. He's right. All spring. He's right. And put themselves in position to be ready to work for a team. And he's right. Said that Monday, said it Friday, when all this started unraveling and unfolding. I'm on the team. They bring back a guy that bumps me off the team. I've been there all summer, all fall, all spring, doing what I was told to do. In the weight room, on the field, getting ready to play, and all of a sudden, Hot Rod comes back and old Tom gets kicked to the curb. I don't think so. So then some of these guys that will get kicked to the curb, guess what they're going to do? You can mark it down, call an attorney and say, I need to file suit. They bumped me from playing. I did everything I was supposed to do. So the guys coming in are coming in with some legal leverage, and the guys on the team, some of them, will have some legal leverage in terms of trying to enforce the fact that I was here and this guy's not going to kick me off of the starting position because he's come back. That's the Big Ten. Now, the SEC, we're live here again at Chick-fil-A, by the way, in Johnson City. SEC joined the Big Ten in its unanimous opposition to athletes leaving the NFL. Sankey went on even further than what the Big Ten did. He not only said no to the NFL, he said no to the NBA, the WNBA for the ladies. So none of them come back. So Big Ten made the assumption, just talking football, but SEC says we're going to make a blanket for everybody. SEC announced its institutions are, quote, not permitted to have an athlete on its roster who has, one, previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or the WNBA draft, and did not appropriately withdraw from school. Okay. Number two, signed a contract with NFL or Professional Football League, NBA, G League, or WNBA. Can't come back. Three, been listed on the NFL, NBA, G League, or WNBA roster, which these guys have. Now, the stink is three of these guys are going to, guess where? LSU. We've talked about this. Who, you know where they are. They're a member of what? Yeah, SEC. We'll see what Kiffin does to this. The announcement stated Sankey is authorized to enforce this expectation with penalties against member institutions. There you go. SEC spokesperson later told ESPN the penalties are to be announced. So Sankey says, I have the right to impose penalties. If you don't do what we say, we have the right to impose penalties. All right. School officials at LSU did not immediately return requests for comment. Unclear if football coach Lane Kiffin or men's basketball coach Will Wade will continue to pursue players in violation of the new conference rule. Or will they let the courts, here we go, decide, or if they will part ways in compliance with the conference, say, guys, can't come back and play, sorry. Or they're going to say, no, they're coming. We're going to go ahead and go with it. As the Big Ten of the SEC pushed back, ACC, the Big 12, and Notre Dame also indicated they weren't far behind. Notre Dame sources there say they are totally opposed to any pro-to-college transaction. It just makes sense. I don't even know why it's even up for debate. It just makes sense. Once you leave the collegiate ranks and go to the pros, and they're not amateurs anymore, college, we know that. They haven't been for a long time. Now it's finally out. These guys are making money, big money. But still, once you leave, you leave. Not everybody's making money. We always hear about the NILs, but not everybody gets paid big bucks to play college sports. Some are playing just for the love of the game. They get some, a stipend here, a stipend there, whatever. They get some help along the way. Some do. Not all do. But to sit here and say every college player gets paid big bucks NIL like we've been talking about, that's not the case. Or they'd go bankrupt. They just can't do it. Not everybody gets a big check, a big chunk of change. But a lot do. Big 12 met Tuesday. They'll do it again today. ACC members have a meeting scheduled for today. They're all going to come out, I would think, because the big dogs have thrown down the gauntlet, being the Big Ten of the SEC. And so I'm sure these rest of these conferences should follow suit and say, can't come play. So the question is for me, as I sit here on Wednesday in Johnson City, Tennessee, what will Lane Kiffin do? Will he buck it? Will he comply? Because Sankey's already come out and said, I can impose penalties on the programs that don't abide what we're doing now. Well, clearly LSU's not abided. Now, they may come back, and now that there has been finally a ruling that says we can't take these guys, so they may come back and say sorry, or they may push it in court and see how far they can go. Because the point of the whole thing is, as I said earlier, the guys that are coming to play on these teams are really good football players. And if you say no to your team and there's a ruling comes down somewhere between now and the start of the season, we're going to, the 28th Court of Appeals in Laramie, Wyoming or whatever says, yeah, you can do it. Then all of a sudden it's a free-for-all. Try and get these guys back on your team. Try and get them to play. So it is murky. It's a quagmire, really. So, and, hello, Owen. How you doing, sir? It's a new name. Thank you, sir, for watching. So So I'm watching. Big Ten SEC's made their point. Sankey went as far as saying we're going to impose penalties on programs that don't abide by these rules. Nobody from pros can come back to college in the SEC, women or men, on any level, on any team, be it basketball, volleyball, whatever. Of course, they don't have volleyball per se, but certainly the WNBA, the NBA, and the NFL. So Kiffin, school officials at LSU did not immediately return requests for comment. It is unclear if LSU football coach Lane Kiffin and men's basketball coach Will Wade will continue to pursue these players in violation of the new conference rules, or they'll let the courts decide, or if they'll just part ways and say, we're going to comply with the conference. Well, that's why they put the rules in place. That's one of the options. That's not an option. If you have rules, you got to go by the rules. So, or the last one, they say they will part ways in compliance with the conference. That should be the first rule. Here's the new rule, guys. Sorry, you can't play. It's not one of the options. It is the option, as far as I'm concerned. Growing up in my father's home, there were rules. Junior grew up with rules. He's watching the show, love him. We all had rules. When you violated those rules, there was consequences for your choices. So they have set rules. Sankey said, you violate these rules, I'm going to penalize the programs. So I'm wondering, as I said yesterday on the show, Texas Tech had Sorsby back in the spring, and so these Big 12 teams come out and said, if he plays, we're not going to play you. They just flat out said, we're not going to play you if you bring back Sorsby. That all that happened, and Texas Tech ultimately under the pressure let him go. So what happens if Kiffin and these guys bucket and they say we're going to dig our heels in and we're going to fight this? We want these guys on the team because, again, they're really good football players, and they are going to make a big difference in the success of LSU or whatever the team these guys go back to, because they can play. They're good. It ain't like it's me out there running around. These people are proven good football players. So Kiffin may push it as far as he can push it, to the point he maybe let the courts decide it. So then Sankey has his option of coming down on the team, on the program. So my question is, one of the other SEC schools say, look, everybody else is doing this. You're not going to play LSU players. You're not going to play guys in the pros and violate the new conference rules. We're just not going to play you. We'll see. Now, the caveat to this whole thing is football starts tomorrow for college football. I've got the schedule. There's probably 15, 20 games this weekend, including ETSU. So, but the big boys, quote unquote, including Tennessee, go next weekend. So we're here. We're on the doorstep of the new season. So here, all this uncertainty and chaos is all right here on the front door of the college season. So you're right. Notre Dame, being independent, can sign anybody. They've been quiet about this, but they did say we're not going to we're going to abide by what the other teams are doing. But you're right. Being an independent, they can sign. They can go get who they want to get because they don't have conference rules to abide by. They're out there free floating, which don't even get me started. So I say this every time. I'm going to say it again for the 427th time on this show over 11 years. Please tell me. Nobody's ever been able to tell me this. Why they have a place at the table along with all the other conference head honchos, the presidents and athletic directors, of all these different power conference people, which I totally get that, and there's Notre Dame. Why? And nobody has ever been able to tell me. I've asked coaches, I've asked people off air, I've asked them on air, why does Notre Dame have a seat at the table? You don't like Notre Dame? I got no qualms Notre Dame. I don't care what they do. I mean, I have no personal agenda against this program at all. I just want to know why they have the leverage to sit there. Why don't they pick up another independent school? I know there's so many conference changes, I'm not even sure who's independent anymore. But why do they get a seat at the table and have leverage to get into the playoffs? Why? And nobody can tell me. So, but they're there, and so Notre Dame did say they're going to abide like everybody else did. So my whole point of this is I'm curious about what the SEC, how far will they push this, and how far will Kiffin push it at LSU? Because he is a riverboat gambler, and you know that. Guy stirs it up everywhere he goes, and he loves it. I don't care what anybody says. He loves the controversy. And here I am, at 11:27 on a Wednesday morning in East Tennessee talking about Lane Kiffin. So he eats that up. If not, look what he did to that program last year. It's about as selfish as you can be, in my opinion. You got a team on the cusp of running the table for a national championship, and all of a sudden goes, you know what, I'm leave. You know, I may leave, I may not leave. I'm thinking about going to LSU, I may not go to LSU. I'll let you know after the Egg Bowl, their big rival game, Mississippi State. So for weeks, he kept everybody in limbo, including folks at Ole Miss, unless they knew behind the scenes weren't saying. But from what I could read and gather, they didn't know. They learned when everybody else learned what his decision was. Totally selfish. So I'm not surprised what he does, but he eats this stuff up with a fork and spoon, no question. Andrew Smith walking in. We're going to get his take on all this. Good night. It changes virtually every day. Saw him the other night at volleyball. By the way, the Lady Cyclones lose last night to Sullivan East. Science Hill won. I'm telling you, I watched the powerhouse volleyball team a couple of weeks ago. They can play. They absolutely wore out Tennessee High last night. They're wearing out everybody. Went to this big tournament over the weekend and fared very well. And so Dobbins going to be Westridge. That's the scores I know from last night. We're here again at Chick-fil-A with the new sandwich, the chicken and waffle sandwich. Mr. Smith had one the other day. He just crowed about it like a big rooster. So, man, it's good. He joins us next on the Tom Taylor Sports. Why Cannon's Fine Home Furnishings in downtown Elizabethton?
When everything goes corporate and everybody, you walk in and you're customer number 1,799, here you're Tom, and we know who Tom is. We know who you are. And we do it the old-fashioned way, so we're big enough now that we can take care of everybody and we can, get the good deals. We get the volume discounts and all that kind of stuff. And we're one of the last family-owned furniture stores in East Tennessee. But we're small enough that we know who you are and we can take care of you.
Absolutely. Social media, how do we find you?
We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, at cannonshomestore.com on the internet, and just look up Cannon's Fine Home Furnishings on Facebook.
Hours are open?
Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, and Saturday, 9 to 5.
And the magic phone number to call?
423-543-6937.
Be loyal, buy local. Biden Elizabeth from Cannon's Fine Home Furnishings, proud sponsor of Cyclone Sports and the Tom Taylor Sports Show. It's exciting Elizabethton Cyclone football. Hi, this is Tom Taylor, inviting you to join Coach Eddie Pless and the Cyclone Network this Friday night at Citizens Bank Stadium as the Cyclones host their longtime rival, the Tennessee High Vikings out of Bristol. The team will be playing for the 90th time this Friday night. Airtime at 6:50 with the pregame show. Kickoff at 7:30, audio and video. The Cyclones and Tennessee High. It all starts at 6:50 this Friday night here on the Tom Taylor Sports Show Facebook page and on YouTube. Go Elizabethton Cyclone football. Back in the Tom Taylor Sports Show, first guest in the house, Andrew Smith. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Always a pleasure. Coming up, Micah Hughes joins us, head football coach of Providence Academy. He'll be here in a few minutes, along with Terry Moore, the assistant coach, and also your comrade, Dave Onge, makes his return. He was once with the press, stepped away, and another career change, and came back. And now he'll be talking, and you're about to be talking. I'm going to put you to work because this is crazy. Now, it's the ever-evolving saga of college athletics. And so SEC comes out, Big Ten comes out and says, if you played pro, I read the stuff we got in here that you can't come back and play, understandably so. Ryan Day says, okay, that's good, but head coach of Ohio State says, okay, but if they're out there and everybody else is going to be going after them, we're going after them too, because that's what we need to do for Ohio State. Kiffin has not returned, or not, I should say, not came up with a comment. He or the basketball coach at LSU, Will Wade, see if they're going to continue to pursue these players. Sankey has come out and said, the commissioner of the SEC says, if you violate this, there are penalties about to be announced if you violate what we're doing. Okay. So Kiffin said they say there's three options. See if they're going to continue to pursue the players in violation of new conference rules. We're going to go ahead and do it regardless. Will they let the courts decide, or they'll just say part ways with the players in compliance with the conference? I'm going to say he's not going to go quietly, but that's just me, and that's Lane Kiffin's mantra. So, what do you think, sir?
Rarely has Lane Kiffin ever done anything quietly in his life. So I would tend to agree with you on that one. My biggest thought with these rule changes in the Big Ten and the SEC, what exactly are your repercussions of playing one of these players that was on a preseason roster, or, in the G League if you're on the basketball side of things? Because those haven't really been specified. On the SEC side of things, basically they said, hey, Greg Sankey has basically whatever power he needs to decide what he feels is right. Okay, what is that going to entail exactly, man? Are you going to make the teams forfeit the games that the kids played in? Are you going to suspend the coaches? Are you going to fine?
Great point.
What are we exactly going to do here? Now, I say that because I'm glad the rule exists. I don't think that if you participated in professional athletics, the NFL, NBA, G League, UFL, what have you, you should not be able to come back to play college athletics.
Yeah,
It's just
it's real simple.
yeah, especially for these guys like on the NBA side of things in particular, who went to and left school early and then came back because it didn't work out. Those guys in particular, it annoys me even greater. My anger is not at the guys that kind of hopped in the court system because, well, it looks like I'm gonna have to put in some applications to start selling car insurance because, I graduated and there's not been any pro football interest. Oh, I can go back to college and get an NIL bag. Yeah, I'll try that. We'll try our luck with courts. Those guys, do your thing. I get it. It's the guys that were on preseason rosters that were, on, in a preseason games even.
Yeah,
they're coming back and trying to play college ball. That just, it's over, man. It's over. Let the just stay off campus unless you're coming back for homecoming as an alum. That's about it.
Here's what Dan Lanning said, the Oregon coach. A lot of negatives involved in this. One, once you go to the NFL, to me, you're in the NFL. You don't get an opportunity to come back. That's what Andrew Smith says. What Tom Taylor says. Number two, most of us have built our rosters at this point. You have a limited roster now. So this has been my point from the get-go. So if you've invited somebody back to your team, you bring me back. I'm a hot rod player from the NFL. I'm coming back to XYZ team. Andrew Smith has replaced me. That means you're kicking somebody else off the team to match your roster. I don't think that's fair to players who worked all summer, all spring, put themselves in position to be ready to work for a team, and now all of a sudden get bumped because the guy's coming back. I agree with that 120%. It's going to create a lot of locker room division. It can't do anything about that. Now, the caveat that I'm on the other side of the coin, I'm going to blow holes in what you said to a point, because the guys that they're asking to come back, I go back to Trent Hendrick, James Madison, Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year, going to go to UCLA. The guy can play. So these guys that Kiffin went after for LSU are instant game changers. These guys are not Tom Taylor and Andrew Smith. Not that he can't play football. I couldn't. I wasn't very good.
I wasn't very good either.
No. So it ain't me and him. These guys are studs. They can play, and they're game changers. So they will enhance their football team. They will make them better. And the goal, as Lane Kiffin said, to his credit, and Ryan Day said to his credit, we are paid big bucks to win national championships. So these guys can put us in a position to do that. So I understand from their standpoint, because Ryan Day said in his quote, okay, if they're out there and they're going to be able to go out there, we're going to go out and get them, because I don't want them playing for Michigan State, somebody else in the Big Ten. If they're out there and it's free for all for everybody to get them, then I'm going to go get them, because that's what I need to do for Ohio State football. I get that too. So I see both sides of the coin. But you said it best. The bottom line is they don't need to be there. Sankey went as far as to say not just NFL, but NBA, in WNBA. So he did a blanket, not just football athletes, but athletes that going back in pros come back from any of those levels of professional ball. Totally get it. So the question is, as I said before you sit down here, college football starts tomorrow. I know East Tennessee State plays this week. You've got some of the local teams starting tomorrow. There are a smattering of games this weekend in big boy football. And you got a big ACC opener in North Carolina, Virginia. So there's some big games this weekend. Everybody else goes the following weekend. So you're on the doorstep of the season starting. And all these rosters. So what happens if you and I are sitting here now and at 10:30 this morning or whatever, pick the time, a new ruling comes down and everything changes. And so, somebody says in the 28th Court of Appeals in Boise, Idaho says it's a free-for-all. Y'all go ahead and do what you want to do, that's where we're in this position now. So what do you do? How do you, if you're a coach or an athletic director or a guy in the NFL, because they got to make their cuts Sunday, get their teams down. What do you do? I guess you got to play the cards that are dealt you right now, but that deck of cards can change any moment.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part about it, And to me, it all stems from when the NCAA created their new eligibility that you have 5 years to play 5 seasons as soon as you graduate. They did not grandfather in that class of 2022 high school class that just graduated this spring. Those guys are primarily the ones that are trying to come back and say, hey, we should be included in this. And that's where the courts are getting involved with this because, the way they see it, they probably are like, well, yeah, the NCAA probably should have grandfathered you in. We'll fix that. It's just kind of late for that.
Yeah.
If you look at where we're at in the athletic calendar,
the horse is out of the barn.
I was going to go the toothpaste is out of the tube personally.
There you go.
But no matter what analogy you want to use for it, everything should kind of be set in stone by now. But should does a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, and as we're discussing, it's not really.
Yep.
And it's just frustrating for coaches. It's frustrating for the players that are on these rosters. It's frustrating for, I'll speak for myself, I'm sure media as a whole trying to cover it all.
Oh, sure.
I didn't realize that I needed a law degree when I came out with a journalism degree to try and follow all this. But yeah, no, it's just an overall very frustrating situation, and it's hard to even really fault the courts much because, like I said, they're kind of the way they view it probably legally is, yeah, this new rule probably should have applied to you guys and it didn't. We're going to correct that. It's just we're so far deep in it that it's just bad timing for everyone. If this happened back when the ruling first came out in late spring, early summer, I guess that's when that was, we can probably be a little bit more adjustable with it. But no, we're kind of just all frantically, scrambling here in late August, trying to figure out who's eligible, who's not, who's playing, who's not, and everybody's kind of left with egg on their face.
I just checked while you were speaking. Hello, Casey Wainscott. Thank you so much for watching the show every day. Appreciate that. I just checked, and there's nothing new. That's what I was looking when he was talking because it's. I got to watch the phone about every hour just to see if there's any kind of new rulings coming out because somebody's going to take him to task. So, but Kiffin's not come out with anything, nor has their basketball coach, Will Wade. And those are probably the most active school that I'm hearing in the SEC going to have to bring these guys back. There may be others. So then you look at Arian Carter. All right, so they've come back, NCAA, and said we're going to go down from 2 games to 1 game. It's a joke because what these guys are showing here, coming back with the big bucks to come back for, potentially. And we know the story, what he did wrong. He paid back the agent and all that. So they went from a 2-game suspension down to a 1-game suspension. And even that's a joke, really.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't be suspended at all, in my opinion. Especially when you've got guys out here coming back from pro ball and all of this, continuing to blur the lines between professionalism and amateurism, which the NCAA is claiming they care about, but here we are. But yeah, no, he shouldn't be suspended at all for this. in my story, I wrote of it yesterday. Danny White came out with a statement on social media, and he very much agrees. He's like, "Hey, we thank the NCAA for listening to us enough to knock it down to one game instead of two, but he probably shouldn't be suspended at all with the chaos going on everywhere else." And
Well, he's right.
yeah, I'd agree with the UT athletics director there on that. And if you're looking for positives, hey, you would think Arion Carter probably wouldn't be playing a ton against Furman to start the year anyway. So it's not that big a loss, and obviously you're able to add him back into the fold for the Georgia Tech game, which is a much bigger contest. But yeah, just the principle of him being suspended at all is asinine to me.
Now, you cover Tennessee for the John City Press, Kingsport Times News. Again, we're talking to our buddy, see on the screen, Andrew Smith. Love him to death. And so, always appreciate him being on the show. His cohort's coming for the first time in a long time today, a little bit later on, Dave Angie. So, you cover. So, I'm out and about. People say, well, they're just picking on Tennessee. The NCAA's got an axe to grind with Tennessee, and so they're picking on them. Right, wrong? You agree with that or not?
I don't think it's Tennessee. I think Tennessee is just the unfortunate program in the crosshairs of the NCAA trying to flex what little muscle it thinks it still has. That's the way I view it. It's trying to grasp at anything it can to prove that it still has some semblance of teeth, even though the dentist came and yanked out about 90% of those chompers in that organization. Like
Amen.
that's
Amen.
it's just frustrating that if you're a Tennessee fan, it's kind of the way you got to feel about it. Is of course it's us, right? Given the history recently of the university taking the NCAA to court, but I do not think that those are related personally. I think it's just kind of unfortunate that you're the one that the NCAA is like, oh, we need something. Crap. Prove we still have some sort of credence. $400 flight. No, shouldn't have done that.
I think you're exactly right.
So
100%.
that's yeah.
100% correct. It's like we got to do something to show we still got some ump, and they don't have any ump. So, SEC and the Big Ten have come out and said no. The other conferences are going to follow suit. Even Notre Dame said they're going to follow. But, the thing about Notre Dame is, as Junior said earlier, he said Notre Dame's being independent. They can sign anybody. So they don't have any conference rules. So they don't have to play. So then you get into, okay, Big Ten says no, SEC says no, but an independent like Notre Dame, they don't answer to anybody except the NCAA. And so they want to go out and get these guys. What's going to stop them? Because there's no conference rules saying you can't do this.
Yeah, no, the only thing that would stop Notre Dame is their own personal conviction of whether this is right or wrong. And, I don't know Marcus Freeman. From everything I've heard, he seems like a coach that guys want to play for, that, runs a solid program. So I don't know how Marcus Freeman would handle that. Or I guess I can take the wood out of it, how he will handle this.
Yeah.
But, he strikes me as a guy that would be okay not signing the guys, to letting them go elsewhere, to a smaller conference or what have you. But I could be wrong. He could be a guy that's like, oh, nobody's stopping us. Let's take these guys. Why not?
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued to see how Marcus Freeman and the Notre Dame program handles these guys coming back into college ball.
We'll get into Faison Brandon here in a second. Here are the games coming up. So there are games starting this weekend. And so big boy football starts. And again, the smaller schools, Emory and Henry's in. I think Tusculum plays this week. UVA Wise plays. East Tennessee State, don't they get started this week too?
Yeah, ETSU's got Campbell on
that's what I thought,
Saturday.
yeah.
And, Tusculum, I believe, plays tomorrow night, I
They
believe.
do. They do.
Yeah, and Emory and Henry, UVA Wise all get rolling this week as well.
So that does not impact these schools, but my point is we're here. So these games are playing on Saturday. This is a big one. I said the wrong team while ago. North Carolina plays at TCU. So Bill Belichick will go and play the Horned Frogs on Saturday. You've got Southern Cal, 14th ranked, a lot of question marks about Lincoln Riley and his team this year. They'll open up with San Jose State, which I would assume is a checkbook game. The ACC opener is a biggie, North Carolina State of Virginia. And as Andrew said it so well, here we are trying to nail down rosters and make sure we can be ready to go. We've got a football game. These guys are playing. It's game week. Here it is Wednesday. They play Thursday, Friday. They got 3 days to get ready. And we're waiting on what's going to be the next court hearing or court ruling as to what can happen and who's going to play where. Eastern Michigan, all right, Sacramento State, Florida State, the Seminoles, a big year for Mike Norvell and the Noles. They open up against New Mexico State in Tallahassee, which should be a checkbook game. Hawaii at Stanford, and Memphis at UNLV. Those are the games this Saturday to start the college football season. So none of those teams I've heard been batted around as far as picking up any of these players, but the biggest one you hear, of course, is LSU. So with Kiffin.
Yep.
Now next Thursday we've got games. Got a whole list of games next Thursday heading into Labor Day weekend. Next Friday are games. Of course, next Saturday it's hammer time with football. I didn't bring all of them in there because Saturday's the biggie, including Tennessee and Furman. Faison Brandon is your quarterback. You weren't surprised about this at all. We talked about this the other night at the volleyball. So he's in. He's the man. Right choice?
Yeah, I think it's the right choice. As this quarterback competition went on, as it started back in January, if you want to even say then when Brandon arrived on campus, the feeling was, hey, it's George McIntyre's going to be in the lead, but don't be surprised if Faison Brandon makes this a competition. And you move into spring ball, and it's like, man, this is a real competition. Faison's really close. And as you entered fall camp even, it was like, hey, they're probably about neck and neck as we open things up. As, weeks went by, it's like Faison's full-blown taking the lead here, and as we're seeing in these scrimmages, as close to live bullets as we can get before real thing, he is rising his level to live bullets, to what more simulated game action. I think that's what ultimately led to him becoming the starting quarterback. Was his ability to play well and raise his level of play as the simulated live bullets started flying in scrimmages. And the arm talent's there, and it's the arm talent, it's the frame, it's the ability to be a real threat in the running game, which when you look at the Josh Heupel style of offense, specifically in the red zone, you need your quarterback to be a real running threat for multiple times. And George McIntyre's athletic, he can do it, but with McIntyre's frame, it's a little bit harder to trust him to run the ball 6 to 8 times a game, which you're probably going to run as optimally as you can. You're going to have to ask him to do. And, Faison Brandon, 6'4", 225, he's got the build to really handle that, even as a true freshman. So, yeah, to me, this is a decision that makes sense. Josh Heupel admitted on Monday at his presser that, hey, every position is still under evaluation as we move forward. If things end up changing, we may end up going back to McIntyre, is kind of what he insinuated. But theoretically, it's Faison's job as long as he performs to a decent level.
So here's the question. We'll go to the break, come back, talk a little baseball. We're here live again at Chick-fil-A in Johnson City. By the way, it's fair night again tonight. And last night was Lone Star. Tonight it's Corey Kent. He's an up-and-comer, I would assume. His songs are Rocky Mountain Low, Wild as Her, and Empty Words. So there would be your talent on the main stage tonight at the fair. Down on the museum stage tonight, you've got the Cheer Showcase at 6 o'clock. Obviously, I'm assuming, looking at the picture, it'll be a cheerleading competition of sorts. And then on Wednesday, tonight, Monster Trucks. Tonight and tomorrow night down in the arena. Plus, of course, the James H. Rides and the barns and the cattle and the barnyard nursery and so on and so forth. My fave, and we'll try and catch it on Friday. We got a ball game, of course. Saturday, Demolition Derby. Rednecks. Love it. Rear back and crash and steam flies off the radiator. Back up and hit them again. They put them down that mud pit. And they slinging mud. It's just, that place is packed down there watching that.
Oh, 100%.
I love it.
Folks love to see stuff.
Oh.
Rednecks love a few things. They love seeing things get demolished. They love seeing things blow up. That's why 4th of July is so popular around here as well.
That's it.
Yeah, go watch some stuff blow up, and maybe some stuff will break too. We'll see.
That's why they like going to Bristol. They like wrecks and carnage and crashes. The way it is. And so that's coming up next month, of course, the big race. So here's my questions. We'll go to the break. You're one hit away from going down, and we don't want anybody going down, including Faison Brandon. But in the event he would, can George McIntyre carry this team? He's the only one else on the roster. Got the other kid came in from Colorado. Don't hear much about him. I don't know if he's even still there.
He's there. He's trying kind of to be a backup veteran presence in the quarterback room, Ryan Staub.
All right. So it's a two-headed monster at this point. Brandon goes down for whatever reason. It doesn't produce. Is just ineffective, which I don't see it happening. But if he gets hurt or whatever, again, the question to you is, sir, as you cover UT for the Johnson City Press and Kingsport Times News, can George McIntyre be the guy that leads his team?
I think he can provide stable enough quarterback play to win football games. I think if you get McIntyre, you're probably leaning even more on the run game than you already are with Deshaun Bishop and the offensive line that you have. But I do think that he can be serviceable enough at worst and pretty solid at best to still win you some football games if you have to lean on him. To me, this necessarily wasn't George McIntyre losing the quarterback battle. I think he ended up still having a pretty solid camp all in all. This was about Faison Brandon coming in and performing to the level where you had to name him the starter. He played that well.
We'll take a break. We'll come right back. We'll get his take on the big football games this week. Got a bunch of them out there, including our ball game, Science Hill and Morristown West will be on. Of course, our game will be the Cyclones and the Tennessee Vikings. We'll take a look at that one and the other games. DB goes to Asheville, North Carolina. Hampton takes off on the road. Providence Academy, we'll have them in here in a few minutes. They go to Cannon County. Got to pack your lunch. That's, if I remember right, that's way out there in the middle of Tennessee, I think. I'm not sure where it is, but I know it's a fur piece from Johnson City. So we'll take a look at that, and yes, we'll let him talk about his Braves. Right after this time out, we're at Chick-fil-A in Johnson City. The chicken, you had it yesterday, didn't you, Monday?
Monday, yes,
Chicken
sir.
and waffle sandwich.
Very good, very tasty. Would recommend.
Good as advertised?
As good as advertised.
Do you put the syrup on it too?
Yes, although I'll be honest, it's good. You don't need it.
Don't need the syrup?
You don't need it. There's some syrup in the waffle, so.
Yeah, the bun's honey, and they got the waffle syrup on the bun. I'm up here looking at it. Chicken and waffles. It's all day, by the way. Every day, all day. Quick break. We'll take a look at high school football and Atlanta Braves baseball because he's a Braves guy. Next on the Tom Taylor Sports. Stores around the region. Why do you think we should come shop here with you at Blakely Mitchell?
Well, first of all, it's our customer service. When you walk through that door, you're going to be waited on. And we're not here for a number, you're a name to us. So we know your size. We can look at you and tell you size. We can pick out stuff for you, and we've got the inventory to show it to you. I keep my own in-house alterations so I can fix it when I sell it to you. We've carried so much, and our customer service is so good. That's what we're known for.
Absolutely.
And being a family store, it's family too.
Yep. Hours are open at Blakely Mitchell.
We're here 10 o'clock to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and 10 to 5 on Saturday. But usually the door's open at 9:30 most of the time, anyways.
Be loyal, buy local. Men's Clothing Store, Broad Street, Kingsport, State Street, downtown Bristol. Men's Clothing Store, Blakely Mitchell, proud sponsor of Cyclone Sports and the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Back at Chick-fil-A in Johnson City on People Street. Tom Taylor Sports Show number 2561, heading to 2600. Clicking them off. Hello, Coach Shipley. How you doing, sir? Love that guy down in Middle Tennessee. Had the privilege of calling his games back in the day for Kingsport Dobbins Minute. He could coach. The man could coach. Tell you what. He had all that talent. They rolled it out there. It's kind of like the old Pat Riley days and the Bill Pitch days and the Casey Jones days. And they had all those great teams, the Celtics and the Lakers. Wow, they had so much talent. That's just, all you had to do is roll the ball out. No, had a lot of egos.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dobbins not that had egos. It had a lot of talent. He had to mold it and weave it, and he did it. Did a wonderful job. So again, hello, Coach Shipley. Thank you always what you did at Dobbins Bennett and the great job you did. Hello, Adam Reese. All right, high school football. Here we go. In no particular order, give me your takes. Crockett goes to Westridge Friday night. Westridge lost that one in the rain at Tennessee High. Crockett got a big win over Unicoi County. Who wins that one Friday night, sir?
Yeah, I got to see Crockett in that game against Unicoi on Friday, and AJ Wynn was the real deal, running the football in particular. This should be a game that features a lot of running because that was obviously a big area of success for Crockett last week. I would expect they would attempt to at least do the same thing. And meanwhile, you still got that triple option there at Westridge. So if you like to run the football, make your way up to Bluntville on Friday night. You'll see a lot of it.
Well-
But I think I'd give the slight lean to Westridge, if for no other reason. It is so difficult to prepare for a triple option offense in just 1 week, right? If you're Tennessee High, you're able to kind of spend the offseason, knowing that that's who you had week one, and you could kind of prepare a little bit more for it, take a little more time for it. But yeah, for Crockett to turn around and go from a Unicoi offense that was run a lot of Heupel style, wide splits, RPO game to triple option, that's not an easy thing to do. Hayden Chandler's a really solid coach. I think he can get his guys there, but to prepare for it in practice versus seeing it in a game can be kind of different. So I'll give Westridge a slight lean on that.
We've got Westridge next Friday night there on the first road game for the Cyclones next Friday night. But this Friday night, they're at home against Crockett. Science Hill, we saw them last Friday night. They're big, they're good, they're deep. I went back and looked. 5 different running backs carried the football. Keontae obviously was the man, but you had the kid from came over, Sage Milhorn from Hampton. Hayden Smith carried the ball. We'll leave somebody out on the list in front of me. But Knox Necessary got the touchdown run. So they had 4 very dependable running backs. Quarterback didn't hurt him. Pearson Harrison, his first start. I liked what I saw in Science Hill. They're big. They can play. Cyclones pushed them, gave them all they wanted. You go back, and it's not excuses, but you go back to a school that's 800 and some kids versus one of the biggest schools in the state. So just to hang with them, I thought was a compliment to Elizabethton. But they don't like, and we don't like moral victories in Elizabethton. But anyway, Science Hill, I feel like it's got a chance to make a really good run this season if everybody stays healthy. They got Morristown West at home. They got clocked by Greenville last week.
They did, yeah.
So Science Hill at home, you like them?
Yeah, I do. I'm with you. I think the Science Hill team has a chance to make a deep run, health permitting, and it's going to be tough to stop that running game if you're Morristown West. I like the Toppers big at home.
Well, we have a 3-headed monster in Elizabeth, and C.J. Mathis and William McDuffie and Legend Pate. So if you can bring 3 or 4 different running backs on a high school level and pound the rock, I feel like you're going to go somewhere. And so he easily has 4 quality running backs for Science Hill. Coach Carter, and so they got Morristown West. DB goes to Asheville, North Carolina. Don't know anything about Asheville. DB lost a heartbreaker last week in the last couple of minutes against Knox Central. Who wins that one?
Yeah, I'm like you. I don't have a great feel on Asheville. I don't know much on them. I do know. I'll give my tip of the hat to my boss, J.D. Vaughn, who covers DB for this note in his story last week. DB has never won a game in North Carolina, in the state of North Carolina. They beat North Carolina teams, but it's always been in Kingsport. So, a unique challenge there, having to go across state lines against a team that, you were able to beat by 2 touchdowns last year, but now you're going over there. I think it's going to be a very motivated Dobbins Bennett team after letting one get away last week. So I like the Indians.
Daniel Boone goes to South Green Friday night. Can the Trailblazers get a W?
It's going to be tough. South Green's a team that's always going to be physical. They're always going to try and challenge you in that way. And but you would think that Boone would have an edge in that game just by the size of the schools, right? You got a 5A visiting a 2A, but I'll lean Boone, but don't be surprised if South Green hangs with them there.
Greenville travels to Middle Tennessee this week to play the Upperman Bees at Upperman. It's a long trip.
Mm-hmm.
Get on the bus and go. Greenville win that one. It was Upperman.
I lean Upperman here. This isn't necessarily the same Upperman as years past, but it's still a really solid team. I think that Greenville's still kind of trying to find exactly define everybody's roles. I guess would be the best way to put that. You're able to kind of get a lot of guys at different looks last week against Mo West, but between the travel and the quality of opponent, I'll lean Upperman in that game.
Got a couple more here. Northview Academy at Unicoi County on Friday night. Blue Devils lose at Crockett. They'll have their home opener. You like them at home?
I like a bounce back spot here for Unicoi County. Gunnar Peterson, I thought, played fairly well, but the big thing, I'll say it when Tennessee runs the system. I'll say it now with Unicoi County. You've got to be able to run the football. And last week, Crockett, after the first drive, did a really good job of stymieing Blaze Rice in the run game. I think they bounced back in the rushing attack and are able to be a little bit more balanced this week against Northview.
Hampton Bulldogs big win last Friday night. They'll travel up. They went to Avery County and won. They'll head up to Johnson County Friday night and play. Bulldogs or the Longhorns up on the mountain?
I'll take Hampton in this ball game. Johnson County struggled last week against Sullivan East. You kind of have some concerns about their offensive line, their depth, and a team I personally wouldn't want to see with questions about my line is Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
Hampton's very experienced there. You've got a kid like Dylan Campbell at left tackle who's 340 pounds, about 6'6". Like, he's a big kid, and I don't know if Johnson County has anybody that can really do a ton against him. I'll be honest.
I don't know if any teams do anything against that guy.
Not very many teams lower in
6'6".
classification, especially. Your Science Hills, your bigger schools. Yeah, they might have something, but it'll be tough for Johnson County. I like Hampton in this one.
Bryson Blevins, 250-plus yards throwing last week in his first game as a Bulldog. Happy Valley at Cloudland. You like the Warriors on the road or Cloudland at home?
I like Happy Valley here. They were able to take care of business against UNACO last week. They were able to do it without throwing a pass. It was just running the ball and made some defensive scores in there too. I think Cloudland will provide a little bit tougher of a challenge, but this Happy Valley team is really good. They're very deep for a 2A school in particular. You've got Lane Parker, Artie Bond, Malik Anderson, the former Science Hill standouts over there now. I like Happy Valley in this one.
UNACO travels to J.I. Burton in Virginia. Can the Rangers get one this week?
They got a shot too. J.I. Burton has had their struggles in recent years. I got to see UNACO in the Jamboree when they took on South Green, and they actually led South Green 8-6 early in that Jamboree. If you can get just enough blocking for UNACO, I like some of their skill position guys. TJ Parento at quarterback. I think Ashton Fuller is a dynamic playmaker at the single A level. Asher Dunn can go win some 50-50 balls. So if you can get enough blocking up front, I think UNACO has enough at the skill positions to go up to Norton and get one.
Providence Academy at Cannon County. How do you like that one?
I'll lean Providence. I'll admit I don't know a ton about Cannon County, but I respect a lot of what Coach Hughes has done, obviously before he even got here to Providence, and I'll go with the Knights.
So before I let you go, the Atlanta Braves. I mean, it's college football. NFL's right around the corner, but we're still right in the heat of the battle for the playoffs and the divisions, and we're coming down the home stretch now. They're played at the end of September, but we're coming down the home stretch. A little over a month left of the Major League Baseball regular season. How do you like your Braves right now?
It's I'll admit last week was a rough one. They did not play well at all. The offense had struggled. The Phillies are kind of right back on their tail, at least were. So I don't feel amazing. I need to see a little bit more out of the offense. Now, last night was a big win. They were able to beat the Dodgers. Bryce Elder gave them enough. He gave up a handful of hits, but he didn't really walk. Walks were an issue, and when walks are an issue with Bryce Elder, he's usually all right, and he was last night, and you were able to get just enough offensively to make something happen. So, if you're able to win one of these next two against LA, that eases my concerns a little bit. Not fully, but a little bit. Obviously, they got A.J. Smith-Shawver going tonight, and then I believe Chris Sale goes tomorrow night. So, if nothing else, pray for the Chris Sale start. But yeah, they still, you would think, should make the postseason. I don't think that's necessarily the biggest concern, but obviously the division is Philly getting as high as they did before heading up to the Pacific Northwest, and they lost again last night, didn't they?
They did.
I didn't get a chance to stay up and watch that game, but I know that when I went to bed, the Mariners were leading, so any and all help appreciated from our friends in Seattle
There you go.
this week. But yeah, they play the Phillies twice in the month of September. They have a home series one weekend against Philly. And I think the next weekend they then travel to Philly the second weekend of September, I believe it is. So those will be pivotal games down the stretch, obviously. But yeah, don't necessarily feel amazing, but I don't feel the worst either. I'm still not super confident this team can make a super deep playoff run, but at this point we're just holding on tight and trying to win a division and see what happens from there.
Shalver Smith on the mound tonight with the Braves. Sasaki will go with the Dodgers tonight, and so that'll be in Atlanta. Hello, Kenny Jenkins. How you doing, sir? Appreciate you as always. Bucks won't have any problem with Campbell, will they? Football?
I'm not sure. I think they should be able to beat Campbell, I would think, but I'm hoping for a decent game for the Bucks.
Well, in theory, that's a checkbook game for the Bucks.
In theory.
Yeah, Campbell's coming.
Weird things have happened.
Well, absolutely. But you would like to think their home opener, season opener, they put a team on the schedule that is very beatable. Should be. And that's no knock on Campbell. It is what it is. The Flying Camels are coming in from Bowie's Creek, North Carolina, I believe is the name of the town. The Campbell Flying Camels, which I find interesting. In the middle of North Carolina, you got Camels as a mascot. But I've had people ask me why you have a pirate in the middle of the mountains of East Tennessee for the Buccaneers. I don't know. That's what it's always been. So the Camels are coming on Saturday for the season home opener for Coach Will, and got Mims, your starting quarterback. So I'm looking for big things in blue and gold at William B. Green Jr. Stadium on Saturday. Bucks and the Flying Camels of Campbell University. Were you getting a waffle sandwich today? You gonna try it again?
I think so. It was pretty good the other day. That might become the regular as long as it's on the menu.
He is such a redneck. I love it. I love the boy. How old are you again?
24.
24. Just a young. These boots are older than him I got on, so he's a good kid. We appreciate him much. Our young man is not a kid. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Again, coming up, bottom of the hour, be Dave Angie. We are scheduled to have our coaches from Providence Academy. It's hard to get in here, so I'm sure they're looking for a parking spot. We'll be right back after this. Take a look at the NFL and Major League Baseball on the Tom Taylor Sports Show live at Chick-fil-A on People Street in Johnson City. Sponsors of Cyclone Sports and the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Real simple. A lot of furniture stores out there. Why come shop at Cannon's Fine Home Furnishings?
One of the biggest reasons people really rave about is 95% of every piece of furniture you see in our store, you can have it tomorrow. Don't wait 6 weeks. You can have it tomorrow. We're a firm believer in having stuff in stock. We have a 31,000 square foot warehouse, which is a huge warehouse. It's actually one of the largest warehouses of any furniture store in the Tri-Cities. And it's full of furniture. And we keep it that way because we want you to be able to come in, select it today, enjoy it tomorrow. It's not the same day. Sunday, sometimes we deliver the same day. So
it's just that simple, folks. So phone number to get a hold of you is
423-543-6937.
How do we find you on social media?
Just look under Facebook, look under Cannon Furniture. It will pop up everywhere. Also on Facebook, we're running specials all during the week. You'll see maybe some of them may be limited quantities, it's short period, but they're crazy prices. Like that chest you were talking about, $147 for a chest it's a crazy price, and it'll probably be gone within a few hours. But we're always running specials like that. Our website is cannonshomestore.com. We are improving it every day. We're going to make some major changes to our website. We're excited about that.
It's all right here, folks, in downtown Elizabeth. And be loyal, buy local, buy Cannon's Fine Home Furnishings. Great sponsor, proud sponsor of the Tom Taylor Sports Show and Elizabeth and Cyclone Sports. Cannon's Fine Home Furnishings. Collins from Collins & Company. Lots of real estate companies out there, sir. Why should we come to Collins and Company?
We do things a little different, Tom.
Tell us how you do it, sir.
Hey, we're an auction firm and a listing firm, and we help buyers as well. So if you need to auction a home, you need to list your home, or you need to buy a home, give us a call. We can help. Full service auction real estate firm, and we are an estate sale marketing company as well. Personal property, either moving, relocating, downsizing. We do it all. One-stop shop for real estate and auction.
Do it full time, and the closing ratio is 97% of what they list, they sell. Collins and Company.
Yeah.
How do we find you? CollinsandCompany.info.
Yep, and get it sold with Collins and Co.
Yep. And the phone number is
423-543-5741.
one of our great sponsors of Cyclone Sports and the Tom Taylor Sports Show, David Collins and crew at CollinsandCompany.info.
That's right.
Back on the Tom Taylor Sports Show number 2,561, heading to 2,600 and probably to 3,000. I may ride off in the sunset at that point. But at this point, we're not. We're here ready to go, and we've got big weekend of high school football coming up on Friday night. We're joined by, first time I met the young man. I like him already, Coach Micah Hughes, head coach of the Providence Academy Knights. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. I appreciate you having us on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Love promoting the Knights and PA, as we call it. So let's refresh people, or not refresh them, but we've never met you. Tell us about where you're from, a little bit about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Grew up there. Started my coaching career at the Baylor School in Chattanooga. From there, actually went and helped Sale Creek High School start their football program. I was a defensive coordinator there. Moved into North Georgia for a little while at Ridgeland High School. Was able to be a part of a couple region championships there. And was working in special education at Ridgeland, and my degree's in history, so got offered a job at Clarksville Academy. And what was really interesting at the time, Coach Will Healy, was at Austin Peay. So when I went up to Clarksville Academy, which is right across the street from Austin Peay, Coach Healy was over there. So we, got to know each other there as well. And so then had two small children, was looking to move back to Chattanooga. So I went to Boyd Buchanan. And got to work with actually the guy who started Tri-Cities program, Jeremy Boskin. And so one of my best friends, great friend of mine, and so worked for him. I was his defensive coordinator. The last year, Coach Gary Rankin came in, and so I was Coach Rankin's assistant head coach.
Pretty good coach.
Pretty good coach.
Yeah.
Learned a tremendous amount about the game, how to prepare, how to practice. And really how to win. I mean, that was a huge thing. How to win. You gotta learn how to win. It's something that you got to learn how to do. Spent a year with him, and then was able to take my first head coaching job down in Marietta, Georgia, at a school called Mount Bethel Christian Academy, where we started the program in 23. Actually, in 24, we came up here and played Providence Academy at ETSU. We came out on the positive side of that, but I was able to see the community, the support for football, and the vision of the program, and that really piqued my interest. I got to meet Coach Kilgore and develop a relationship with him. And so, after that, I know when I saw the job come open, I was like, man, this is really intriguing. We had a great run at Mount Bethel, was able to go 18-2. We did some really special things down there, but I knew this was a special place with special people and kind of the pace that I was looking for. And so, was honored and fortunate enough to get this head job here, and this has been great so far.
Absolutely. First week out, big win, 28-6 over Twin Springs last Friday night. We'll talk about Cannon County coming up here in a minute, but go back to that game. It's your first game. Did you have butterflies as a coach, or just another game because you've been there before?
Yeah, I think if you don't have butterflies, I think there may be something wrong, and I think that's why a lot of us get into the coaching is that adrenaline aspect of it on a Friday night. I've coached a lot of other sports, and there's nothing that mimics a Friday night football game, and so absolutely with the butterflies and last minute preparations and everything like that. Very interesting game. We checked the weather all day, had some rain in the morning, and actually had a couple people up there who were texting me saying, hey, it's beautiful up here. There's not a cloud in the sky. Should be a great game. We score our first touchdown. Right after that, the heavens opened up, and I don't know if I've ever seen as much rain in my life.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I've ever played on a field surface or coached on a field surface like that before. It was already decently saturated. But, there was honestly, and Coach can attest to this, half a foot or more of standing water
Oh, really?
on the field. So, getting a snap, it was the grace of God to even get a snap and to be able to get a handoff.
Wow.
And to do some of the things we were able to do. So, to score 28 points, I was very impressed. We had multiple lightning delays. And we spent a lot of the summertime talking to the kids about adversity and how to handle adversity. And I told them, I said, at some point in time this year, you're going to get a lightning delay. And it's the team that goes into the locker room and stays focused and handles that the best that's going to come out and be able to come out on top. We responded very quickly after halftime and had a lot of momentum, got the lightning delay, go back in the locker room. Got another lightning strike, so we were in there for about 45 minutes to an hour. We're able to come back out and get warmed up, and then kind of dominated the rest of the game from there. But offensively, it was a struggle with all the rain, all the water, and everything like that to be able to get the ball and do what we needed to do. But it was a great game for us, and I was super proud with our kids' resolve and the adversity they were able to face.
What an opening game. Rain, so you're worrying about building an ark instead of getting a football team.
We could have, and I think all of our coaches. Luckily, I know Coach Moore. He's got a whole shoe collection of really nice shoes, and I was glad he didn't wear his best pair that night. I had to throw mine away. I tried to wash them, but there was no coming back from that, and so it was rough on that end for sure.
Of course, it's natural grass over there too, right?
It is, and they actually have a home game this week. I was going to text their coach today and just check up on him to see how it's recovered, and I don't know how it will. It was wild. So, but they've got a great coaching staff over there. Was really enjoyed getting to meet them and know them, and so just looking forward to week 2.
Did your fan base travel well over there?
They do. We have a phenomenal fan base, and again, like I said, that was one thing when we came up to play in 24 that I saw the support that we have at Providence Academy is unbelievable. And so, expecting a huge home opener Friday night. And again, like I said, we couldn't be more excited about that.
So, PUHR, Pure?
Yeah, Ty Pure.
Ty Pure. Cam Blanton passed. He ran for 2. Cam Blanton passed for 2. And so, Kaler, am I saying it right? Kaler O'Garo?
Kaler, yep.
Kaler O'Garo. Is that how I get his last name?
That's it, Kaler O'Garo.
Boy, that was a lucky shot.
Yes.
12 carries, 92 yards. Pure finished with 87 yards on 9 passing. Blanton went 7-11 through the air for 76 yards, throwing touchdowns to Braden Miller and Marcus Stein. So you spread things around.
We do. We run a pretty fast-paced, high-powered offense, and so I like to call it basketball on turf a little bit there. We try to spread the ball out. We actually keep track of who touches the ball and how many touches each kid gets. So we want to get multiple kids touches. We've got some really good athletes, and so we want to make sure that they get the ball and they get the ball in different positions in different spots to put the defense, in a bind and put some pressure on them. So we were able to do that even with all the rain and everything that was going on. We were able to still get the ball spread around a good bit. Was hoping to do it more, but we did what we needed to do to get the win, and so I was really pleased with that.
Ford Bowman says led defensively for the Knights with 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles, go with his 12 tackles. Chris Carroll had a pick for Providence. So as a coach, I'm sort of trying to think, all right, you go through 2 or 3 lightning delays, you got a monsoon, it's your opening night, your first game. Going in that locker room during how'd you keep them focused? How do you keep everybody going, all right, focus, guys, look at me. Lightning's out there. We're in here right now getting rested back up and getting ready to re-hit the reset button. How did you keep it focused?
You know, we did a lot of this in the summertime. You know, we travel. We traveled down to Hoover, Alabama, to play in the National 7-on-7 tournament, which we won the independent division down there. Started off rocky in that, and we were able to, you know, talk to those kids and battle that adversity in the summertime in certain situations and put them in adverse situations. So that way, you know, that they're able to. They've been through it. They're battle tested. And so, you know, it's not one of these things that's new to them. And we spend a lot of time talking about it. You know, to us, football is it's an avenue to learn to overcome adversity. Each week, you're going to have some form of adversity. Whether
Absolutely.
you win, whether you lose, you're going to have some form of adversity each week. And it's the team that handles that the best and that can overcome those things. Like I tell our quarterback, you're going to throw a pick. At some point in time this year, it may not be this game, you're going to throw a pick. You're going to drop a ball. You're going to fumble a football.
Yeah.
You're going to miss a tackle.
How do you handle it?
How do you put that in the rearview mirror? How do you move forward? How do you handle that? And I'll tell you the biggest thing I think that we talked about at halftime was we addressed the team, we talked to them, and then they talked to themselves. And they spent time with each other going through, and that's what we focused on all season long, is creating a player-led culture. You know, we put a leadership council in place, and we talk about it as coaches. You know, you're not born a leader. You got to learn how to be a leader. And so that's the biggest thing that we've tried to instill in these kids this offseason is how to build and develop your own leadership and your own style through that. And I think that really showed Friday night.
So they circled the wagon. You guys on around go, okay, boys, here's how we're going to take care of business here. Coaches are out of the room. It's us.
And that's what they did. And I was as impressed with that group of kids as I think I've been in my coaching career with how they handled that. I mean, we addressed them. I came in there. I addressed the situation. We talked about it. And I said, guys, I said, this is, you know, again, we talked to them too. It's like, we're not out there with you. You know, our playing days are over. You know, it's your guys' turn, and you've got to be the leaders. And so as we walked out, you know, or kind of walked around the corner to stand in, you know, in that other area, we could hear them. And I mean, and it was constant, and they were constantly holding each other accountable. And again, I think that's how you get over the hump in those type games. And you got to learn how to win. And I think that was one step forward in us learning how to do that.
Do that in life too, don't you?
Absolutely. And we talk about that as well.
That's how it
Those
rolls.
are big things that we talk about. And so again, football is a vessel that teaches you those things. And then when you get in life, those are lessons that you've already learned.
I think we do the kids a great disservice because you are going to fall. It's not going to be sunshine and roses every day. You're going to have tough days. You're going to go after a job you don't get. You're going to take a test you don't do well at. You're going to have a girlfriend break up with. Or a boyfriend break. It's how it rolls. It's not how you handle the wins. It's how you handle the losses. What my dad used to tell me, he was right. So you got to get ready for the game of life, and football certainly teaches that. So Cannon County's now. Are you going down there? Or are they coming up here?
So we play Franklin Christian on Friday.
Okay, let's see what
Play
they.
Franklin Christian on Friday.
I'm sorry, I got the
No,
wrong.
you're fine. You were absolutely fine.
It said Cannon County, so is what I read. Maybe I read it wrong. So
Yeah, we
But
play
it-
Franklin Christian on Friday.
here?
They're coming up here, so they're
Okay.
from Franklin down near Nashville. So they're making I guess 4.5, 5 hour drive up here. You know, they've got a new coach. They've got a really good football program. I've got a Division I running back, and you know they got some big boys up front. And so I think we have a phenomenal coaching staff. I mean, we really do. I mean, this has been a godsend with these guys that I've been able to get on our staff. And so we've got a phenomenal coaching staff. Feel like we have a great plan going in Friday night. And just gotta execute. We've been battling a little bit of some head colds and some things like that. A couple kids missing practice, due to those kind of things. Which it's like you said, you got to battle adversity. You got to say, okay, we're going to move forward and go and keep pushing. And so we've been able to do that this week. Got a really good game plan, we feel like, for Friday night. And, again, excited about the challenge and the opportunity to play another game.
you play on campus.
We do. Yes, our first home game of the season, so we're super excited about that. Expecting a big crowd. And so, again, just looking forward to that opportunity.
It's here in Johnson City, and so address, because a lot of folks who haven't played don't realize getting on a bus and going 4 hours. They're young, they get out and stretch, they're ready to go, but still riding a bus for 4 or 5 hours from across the state, coming up through Knoxville traffic on Friday and so on and so forth. that is a detriment advantage you being playing at home versus the team's got to travel on that bus, right?
Absolutely. And the big thing with that is, you know, you probably want to stop every couple hours. I mean, at least every hour and a half or so to stretch your legs. And you know what? Again, like I said, I just kind of spoke on it. We did that this summer. We took a 5.5-hour trip to Hoover, Alabama, and we do that intentionally, you know, to be able to get those kids used to that. And we actually stopped and spent the night in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee, and then got up that next morning and drove down to Hoover. And then the next day, you know, after we played all our games that day, we drove all the way back, and we got out of the bus 3 or 4 times to stretch. So if you've done it once or twice, you know, in a controlled environment, your kids start to get used to that.
Sure.
And so if you don't, and this is the first time you're doing it, it does make for some distractions. It does make for some issues, and you know, and it also depends on how you handle that bus ride and the thought process and the mentality you have during that whole trip. It's difficult. It is. We actually make, I think, we make 2 trips to Nashville this year to play Middle Tennessee Christian and to play Zion Christian. And so, but our kids have already been on the bus. They've already done that. We've talked about it. So I think you battle a lot of that adversity in the summertime, and then when you hit it head on in the season, you have somewhat, I mean, you can't fully prepare for everything, but you have somewhat of an idea of how that works.
Remember the movie Facing the Giants? He said, get on the bus. Boys, get on the bus.
I referenced that last week in our Thursday FCA meeting. And it's a great movie. I told our kids that if you never watch it, you need to. And a lot of them haven't. So hopefully they went back and were able to watch that movie. It was a phenomenal movie.
Denzel Washington was excellent. Coach, I'm cooking my grits. Coach, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Get on the bus. That's it. So how does your faith play into this? Providence came, we're talking to Coach Hughes. So how's your faith play into being the head coach and just your day-to-day walk as a football coach?
Absolutely. Well, you know, I mean, it's an everyday thing. You know, we are, you know, we step on the field and step off the field together. And, you know, everything we do it to glorify God. And that's how we run our program. And so, you know, and I always tell our coaches, I said, you know, I always say, you know, that there's things that come up every day, and I go, so you want to be a head coach? You know, that's kind of my joke. But if it wasn't for my faith, it wasn't for my relationship with God, I don't know the battles you face as a head coach and the things you have to go through. You know, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. And so it's a tremendous thing for us. We've got a great group of kids who have deep-rooted faith in God, and so that's something that we talk about and spend time in the Word every day. I actually teach a Bible class at the school, so I'm heavily involved in it both in school and out of school, and so but it plays a huge part in how we do things and how we handle things. And you know, we always say that, you know, we're gonna, whether the outcome, we give the glory to God, and that's gonna, and everything else will take care of itself.
Oh, absolutely. He controls everything, folks. We say this on the show every day. Every step we take, every breath we take, it's a gift from him. If you don't think so, you're fooling yourself. Because at any point, Dad used to say, that heartbeat stops one time, you're done. And whatever you've got, whatever you're doing, you can't take it with you. So what are you going to do with the Lord Jesus? That's the whole key to this whole thing.
Absolutely.
We'll take a quick break. We're going to switch seats and let Coach Moore come up. Enjoyed meeting you, sir.
Hey, thank you. Enjoyed meeting you, too. Yes, sir.
Good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. Be right back after this. We're live here at Chick-fil-A in Johnson City. Coach Moore, the man behind me. He'll join us next. And also Dave Angie, sports writer, Johnson City Press, waiting in the wing.
In a world where cluttered trash and debris threaten your property, one man is ready to save the day. He's Container Man, your dumpster delivery superhero. Need to clear out your garage? Call Container Man. Remodeling your home? Call Container Man. Demolition waste taking over your job site? Call Container Man. From minor to major projects, Container Man has the perfect size dumpster for every task. With lightning fast delivery and the customer service of a locally owned company, he will help you restore order to your world. When you're ready to fight cluttered trash and debris, call Container Man.
My name is Michael Vance, Vice President of Advanced Heat Pump Systems. Advanced Heat Pump Systems has been open and providing service for over 35 years. The services we provide are installation and service of home heating and cooling systems. Our company's goal is to provide quality service for our customers. The reason you should hire Advanced Heat Pump Systems is because we offer a dependable, quality, trained technician to service your heating and air conditioning.
And back on the Tom Daly Sports Show, big thanks to Coach Hughes. Met him. I like him. He's a keeper.
Yes, sir, he is.
In the world of fishing, we won't throw him back. We'll keep him in the boat.
He's a big pounder right there.
I like him. I appreciate
He'll win some money for us.
Well, he looks you in the eye and talks to you. That's what I like.
Definitely.
And there's no uhs and does.
No.
He knows he's well spoken. I appreciate. And
great man. I mean, I'm. It's been God's sin and a God blessing for me to be able to join his staff after sitting out for a year or two away from Elizabethan staff, which was another great staff too that you know of. Very, very fortunate. God, as we say, places where we need to be.
Oh, he's a connected out God.
Yes, sir.
100%. When I go out and speak, you can, every one of us, he included, can look at a person or a time where God's behind the scene, connecting dots, putting people here, putting people there.
You might have your thoughts and where you might want to be and so on and so forth, but he always has the ending for your
absolutely.
story. So
he writes. What as I read the other day, he's still writing the story. Don't take the pen out of his hand.
Amen.
So there you go. Still writing each other's story. Talk about your running backs, 28-6 in a monsoon, put up 28 points in your season opener. Brag on your running backs.
Oh my gosh! I mean, we's definitely playing on swampland, and for them young men to go out there and bust off some long runs. Ty Pure, he busted off a 70-yarder. How he cut back on that one, I'll have no idea. In that water between, I mean, the kid, phenomenal. And then Kaler, just automatic speed, hits the hoe hard. They both came and did a phenomenal job at running, especially in that type of weather. So we're excited and hoping that we get some good weather this weekend so we can really see what we got and what we can do on dry land and some good turf and let these guys really go out and perform to their ability because we got some good ones. Also Ford plays running back. He's another great one. We got little Chris. He's another good one. So I got like I said, got a nice little collection like I did Elizabethan, run by committee, get it done. Like Coach Hughes said, we want to get the ball as to many athletes as possible so we can move and so on and so forth and not let someone key off on one kid. So I love that concept, and I think we do a very good job at that.
Saw that Friday night at Science Hill. They had 5 backs. I mean, they just pounded. They brought in.
Oh my gosh! And
fresh, hard running backs too.
Yes, sir. And that necessary kid, he actually played with my son last year, and led their JV and their middle school team, and he come in as a freshman and busted off a 53-yarder against Elizabeth, and kind of a heartbreaker right there. But so we got some good athletes in this area.
So you're wanting to do the same thing, just kind of pound the rock. So what defensively is the scouting report against Franklin?
They pretty big up front. We feel that we can move the ball on them. Running the ball also, but we also feel that we can throw the ball too. I think we'll be 50-50 on both, if not 60-40, or either way it goes. They got some great looking athletes, but I think if we stick to what we do and our concept on how we do things, with like I said, Coach Hughes says, getting all of our athletes the ball and moving the ball and showing them different things, that they're gonna have a hard time with us.
Kickoff is at what time Friday night?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
At PA on campus.
At PA on campus, and it better be a doozy, because I mean this is our first home game. First got the first win, so winning's contagious. So I think we was told, neither him or I has been a part of a home game yet, but we was told that when PA has a home game, everybody comes.
And the house is rocking. 7 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Friday night here in Johnson City Providence Academy. How can we find out about your football team on social media? Facebook?
We have a Facebook. We have an Instagram. on Instagram, it's called Parks Providence Academy Football. You can find it on there, and then I believe we have the same thing on Facebook. And then Coach Hughes does an excellent job on putting out stuff for us on that aspect too. But yes, definitely those two things you can find out there.
I want to say thanks. I don't want to get into bragging, but I mean, we inform, we don't brag because it's all about the Lord. But we had a little over 20,000 views for the game Friday night, Science Hill. So we appreciate that. And so we'll do it again this Friday night against Tennessee I. They'll be taking on the name of this Franklin Academy, is that right?
Franklin Academy Falcons.
The Falcons. They're flying in from Middle Tennessee. About to get so in a nickname war, the Knights with a sword and a shield, and the Falcons. They should be able to knock a Falcon out of the skies, shouldn't they?
Yeah, we hope. We hope, and that's our goal, and that's our mission for the night. So, first and foremost, we just hope all kids stay healthy, strong, come out ready to play, and also leave the game the same way.
Yep.
But yes, we're going out for the win for sure. We're trying to change the concept and the mindset of Providence Academy football. That yes, winning is a big thing, along with praising the Lord and so on and so forth. We don't play the game just to play the game. We're going to play the game to win.
My daddy used to tell us all the time, us boys in the backyard, if you don't play to win, why keep score?
Amen.
What's my favorite football team? You know who it is, don't you?
I don't. I forgot.
My favorite pro football team?
Oh, pro is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Isn't
No.
it? Who is it?
No. The Raiders.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And what's their mantra?
Raiders.
Just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
We don't do it much.
Well,
But that's your all's
still-
mantra. You just
y'all
win,
gotta
baby.
Get back to that. Just win, baby. But
Get them Friday night. Just win, baby.
Yes,
the
sir.
Knights.
Always a pleasure, Tom.
Yep,
I
thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach Hughes. Get you some lunch.
Yes, sir.
He's eyeing that chicken and waffle sandwich, and I don't blame him. I'm eyeing it too when I get off the air. Quick break. Dave Angie, sports writer, Johnson City Press. We're going to talk about the Bucs. They open up against Campbell on Saturday. We're going to find out what he thinks, Dave Angie, about this crazy going from pro, going back to college. SEC says no. The Big Ten says no. Lane Kiffin said, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Greg Sankey says if any school violates this new rule that you can't have pro players on, we're going to put down some penalties and some sanctions. Kiffin says we may have to take you to court. Okay, stay tuned. So Angie's next on the Tom Dale Sports Show. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you, sir. Double C Western Supply in Elizabeth and your Cowboy store and so much more. We have shoes and boots for guys and gals. We have kids' boots and shoes for the little people, too. Ball caps, Marriott Wrangler, a large selection of Huey. We have purses, billfolds, handbags. We carry a full line of Montana Silversmith jewelry. We have both Lane Frost and Huey cologne and perfumes. We even have several styles of rugs to choose from and a large kids section full of boots and shoes and jeans and dresses and even stuffed animals. And jeans, and more jeans, both work and casual for guys and gals. Ariat and Wrangler in all sizes and styles. T-shirts for men, women, and kids. For cold weather, we have fleece tops and sweaters. And racks full of men's shirts, including the George Strait line from Wrangler. Short sleeve and long sleeve shirts for men and women. Vests and jackets for the cold days and nights for the guys and the ladies. We have a full line of tack and cowboy hats for cowboys and cowgirls, along with belts and a great selection of saddles. So you see, it is a cowboy store and more. Double C Western Supply, Railroad Street, Elizabethton. Find us on Facebook and at doublecwesternsupply.com. Shop here at the Eagle Center for the spring and summer.
Hallelujah for spring and summer, right?
Right.
So we have a lot of things for your home to add to your decor, both indoor and outdoor. Pictures, pillows, mirrors. We have furniture. We have all kinds of Easter decor, all kinds of gifts for Mother's Day coming up after that. So it's a wonderful place to shop. I have 48 vendors, and they keep things moving, keep things fresh, bring things in all the time. We have old things, new things, all things in between.
Where do we find you on social media?
We're on Facebook under Eagle Center Co-op and on Instagram, Eagle Center Antiques.
Hours are open.
We're open 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday,
Things tell a story.
when people no longer can.
Our great sponsor, come downtown in Elizabethton and shop. Think spring and summer at the Eagle Center. Be loyal, buy local, and buy at the Eagle Center in downtown Elizabethton. Proud sponsor of the Tom Daly Sports Show and Elizabethton Cyclone Sports, the Eagle Center, downtown Elizabethton.
Thank
We're talking to our buddy Sherry Holtzclaw, the owner of the Jewelers Bench, proud sponsor of Cyclone Sports and the Tom Bailey Sports Show. E. Newtons. You got a ton of them. Just about E. Newtons, would you please?
I do have a ton of them. They are 14 karat gold filled. They're stretchy. They come in 3 different sizes and easy to wear. You can swim in them. You can work out in them. You can sleep in them. They hold up very well. And there's also a lot of different colors. And then coming soon, I'll be getting the America, the 250 birthday celebration ones in. Hopefully soon. I've been waiting.
Hundreds of them they have. I don't think anybody else anywhere has more E. Newtons than the Jewelers Bench.
Now, usually everybody that comes in is pleasantly surprised with what I have in stock.
Hundreds. I'm not kidding you. Hundreds of E. Newtons here at the Jewelers Bench. Hours are open.
We're open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 6, and on Saturday, 9:30 to 4.
Social media, how do we find you?
Facebook and Instagram.
And the magic phone number is?
423-542-5600.
So if you want E. Newtons, come here first. I promise you, they got more selection than anywhere else in the Tri-Cities, in my humble opinion. The E. Newtons at the Jewelers Bench, proud sponsor of Cyclone Sports and the Tom Bailey Sports Show. We're back on the Tom Bailey Sports Show. We have not had him on for a long time. We used to do a show at Champion Chevrolet back in the day.
We did.
On high school football Friday night or Thursday nights, kind of a pick and panel show. How long has that been? That's been.
Oh, it's been a long time. I don't even like to think about it.
Yeah, I don't either because it's been.
Means I'm getting up there.
Yeah, you're staying younger and I'm getting older. Is what it amounts to. So, but anyway, Dave Hodges back. He is with the paper. Then he took a different path in his career. Now he's back with the paper, and we're glad he is. And so he's doing a great job. By the way, the tab was excellent. It is excellent. Researching for the Tennessee I game, got the roster, and so it's excellent. I don't know if there's still any. Every place I've gone to see if how they're doing, they're all the bins are empty. So you guys must have sold a lot of them.
Yeah, and that for us as a staff, we love doing that at the beginning of football season. I mean, there's so much excitement around here when football's getting ready to start, and definitely everybody wants to know who's got what, and not only their team, but everybody else who they're going to be playing. And really, honestly, game of the week this week might be that Elizabethton Tennessee High game on Friday night. Elizabethton looked really good week 1. I think the numbers of Science Hill just kind of wore them out as that game went on, but a lot of talent there. I thought Lingerfeld did a fantastic job at quarterback coming into that situation. That's probably the toughest defense he's faced, even though he was a 2-year starter at East. That's a step up level of competition. The environment there, I thought he handled himself very well on the field. You look at the stable of running backs Elizabethton has, then you're up against a Tennessee High team that I think is a very tough football team, just physically tough to play against. Should be an old slobber knocker, as they say. Two teams that are looking to run the football, some good backs out there, good quarterbacks out there. Should be a fun game.
That's what we're anticipating. Plumbar may be a question mark, the running back for Tennessee High. So he got injured up there the other night in the rain against Westridge. So, but the Cyclones, they got a three-headed monsters, C.J. Mathis and Wayne McDuffie and Legend Pate running the football.
Yeah.
And Lingerfeld, again, you made a great point. At East, he threw for over 4,300 yards in his sophomore and junior seasons, and yet his legs got him 3 touchdown runs. So we saw some of his passing ability, but the other night it was the run. Science Hill had, if I counted right, had 5 different guys ran the football.
Yeah.
And they are deep and they can play and they're big. And I look for Stacy Carter to make a run to this team this year. They stay healthy. They got all the parts and pieces. I think they can make a run.
I think they can too, and what you look at is the youth. And when you have a lot of young players the way they do, there were some guys that emerged last week. Keontae Harris for them as a running back, I think 186 yards on the ground for him. Just a game-changing 80-yard touchdown that really changed the tone of the whole football game.
It did.
Elizabethton did a fantastic job early in that game of controlling the football, keeping Science Hill's offense standing over on the sidelines. That play kind of broke it open. I think it changed a little bit what Elizabethton was trying to do, because when you're in a 7-6 football game and all of a sudden it's 14-6, that's a whole different thing. You got to try to pick it up and go a little bit. But, I was just really impressed with Lingerfeld kind of taking what the defense gave him. In a lot of cases, he would get out on the edge and he would see a running lane and he would take it, and did a great job. I think you're going to see a lot more of legend Pate moving forward, running the football. Fantastic athlete. I know Sean's really mindful of what he does on the defensive side of the ball. You try to limit the wear and tear on those guys, in terms of mileage. You don't want to get him hurt. But, I think strategically, just in different situations when they need some yardage, that's a guy they're going to put back there because he's just a phenomenal athlete. And all those backs, ran the ball so well. So it's going to be fun to see what they come out with this week.
Those guys go both ways, so you got to save them.
Yeah.
We got 9 more games plus playoffs, so it's a long season, and you got to, as he said, you got to pace them. But I would think that I'm not privy to what's going on the coaching strategy for Friday night, but I would think they'd get a healthy dose of C.J. Mathis and a healthy dose of William McDuffie and a healthy dose of Legend Pate, a three-headed monster. We're talking about Tennessee. That's our game Friday night. So Science Hill's home against Morristown West. DB goes to Asheville, North Carolina. What do you think about those games?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I heard Georgia, there's a Georgia signee that's transferred into Asheville. So anytime you hear Georgia signee, you're going to be playing against a talented player. Obviously, Dobbins Bennett played a phenomenal game for just over 3 quarters there. They had Knox Central down, just couldn't land the knockout blow, and then Knox Central comes back and wins that one. So it's kind of the old adage in sports. You can't let one team beat you twice. They just have to kind of dump that, erase it, get ready to move on and play a new opponent this week, pick up a win, get some positive momentum as they go forward there. So that's going to be an interesting ball game. Morristown West, I think, improved this year from what they were last year. They were a 3-8 team last season. They have some players, that can do some things. They run a spread offense. Science Hill, if they have something that's a little bit of a question mark right now, it's their secondary. They're really young in the secondary. So, when you're playing against a spread offense like Morristown West has, you have to be really good in your assignments, really good tackling in space. So they're going to have to limit big plays and stop the quarterback run out of that spread against West in order to get the win. So a lot of interesting matchups this Friday for sure.
We're live here at Chick-fil-A, and Johnson said we've got him back, and he's going to be a regular. As long as he can come, we want him to come. Birchfield said, am I still coming? I said, well, yeah, you're still coming. So I want them all to come. I love promoting these guys. They do a great job with Andrew, JD, when he can get him here, and certainly Birchfield is our NASCAR guy. And so Dave Angie now back. We hope to be a regular. Greenville goes to Upperman to play the Bees in Middle Tennessee. Probably a pretty good test for Greenville. Get on the road, go to the bus. Upperman's always been a powerhouse football team in Middle Tennessee. That could be an interesting game at Upperman Friday night.
Yeah, definitely can. It'll be interesting to see how Greenville approaches that one. They played against Morristown West Friday, and the one thing that kind of jumped off of that film is the fact that Greenville passed the ball a lot. They're so heavy in the pass game there. They have a lot of playmakers on the edges, and they want to get the ball downfield to those guys. You look at Morristown West, and if they have a strength defensively, they're really big on the line. So, I don't know how much of what Greenville was doing is like, hey, this is, why try to run into that big line when we can just get the ball down the field and make big plays, which they did. It'll be interesting to see if they balance it a little bit more this week or if they stay pass heavy, as they play that game. So you can learn a lot from week 1, but it's easy to overreact from what you see in week 1 as well. So it always takes probably 2-3 weeks into the season until you start to get a feel for who has what and where everybody's at. But that's going to be an interesting test for them in that passing game and see if they stay as pass heavy as they were against West.
Got a couple more games. We're going to get his take on what's going on in college sports. You've got other game Friday night, Crockett at Westridge. Crockett beat Unicoi County. Westridge lost in that downpour at the Stone Castle against Tennessee I. Who wins that one Friday night? Westridge.
That's going to be a good game. Westridge improved from last year as well. Crockett, like you mentioned, had a good win in week 1. I think for West, if they're able to kind of limit the mistakes, able to control the football, which they've always that's kind of been their calling card. They want to be able to run the ball and keep that offense on the sideline. If they can do that, I really give them the edge this week, I think. But you never count Chanley out. He always puts a good football team on the field. I think that's another one of those intriguing matchups. I'd give Westridge probably a little bit of an edge in that game.
Daniel Boone travels to South Green. Coach Jenkins has now since his last year.
Yeah.
Lost a tough one the other night against Volunteer at home. They go on the road to South Green. Who wins that one?
I think Boone might finally get over the hump in this game. I think, again, you're looking at a team that was breaking in a young quarterback, in that ball game against Volunteer. They've got some young guys at some key positions, but they also have some experience. And I think there's just too much pride in that team. And, you got your coach going out at the end of the year. Jeremy Jenkins is a legend, every sense of the word, what he's done at Daniel Boone High School over the years. And, these guys are going to be motivated to go down there and get a W. And I'm betting on them to be able to go down there and get that done.
Hampton goes to Johnson County. Bulldogs out of the chute. Big win at Avery County last week. They'll stay on the road at Johnson County. Johnson County got shut out last Thursday night at East, so who wins that one Friday night?
Yeah, I would give the edge to Hampton in that ball game. Just really impressed with what they've done over there. I know that's a program that, after the flooding and everything, they're eagerly waiting to be able to get into their home stadium. Another road game for them this week, but a lot of excitement, a lot of talent with that program. I love what they're doing up at Johnson County. The one thing Hampton needs to watch out for, Johnson County's, like we talked about with Morristown West, they're looking to spread it out, spread the field, get the ball in the hands of their playmakers, let them go make some plays. So, if Hampton's tackling well in the open field, I really like their chances of going up there and getting a win.
Last one, Unicoi County will be at home against Northview Academy. That'll be a future Cyclone opponent in our region. Unicoi County loses at Crockett last Friday night. They're back home opener. Who wins that one?
I think the travel in that game, that's some tough sledding to get up to Unicoi County. So, we'll see how they handle that trip. I think Unicoi County coming off that loss in week one, it's one of those deals you don't know how a team's going to respond to that. I was talking with Stacy Carter the other day. He said, sometimes, a loss can be better than a win. Sometimes you find out what you're doing wrong. You fix those mistakes. They say the most improvement for a football team happens between week 1 and week 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Unicoi County's job right now is to get in there, get practicing, fix what went wrong last week, and hopefully get a win. It's going to be a tough task for them this week.
We're talking to Dave Onge. We're going to switch gears, get into college. So what in the world are we going to do here? It is all over the road. The SEC comes out and says no pro players coming back on any basketball, football, women's basketball. Big Ten's done the same thing. Looks like the rest of them are going to follow suit today, the other power conferences. So Kiffin has not made any response because he's the guy in the SEC that's been the most active recruiting these guys come back out of the pros. Sankey comes out yesterday and says if any team violates the new rules, there's going to be repercussions, there's going to be penalties. So we're, as I showed when Andrew's here a few minutes ago, we are Saturday, we got North Carolina at TCU. We'll get NC State of Virginia. We got Florida State at home on Saturday evening. It's New Mexico State. It's here. We're on the doorstep of the season starting. What do you do? And then, of course, you got to sit there and go, okay, is there going to be another ruling between now and then? So what in the world do these coaches do right now?
Oh, my goodness. It's a tough job for coaches. If you look at the quality coaches in the college ranks from Nick Saban, who got out of it altogether. There have been guys, Monken goes to the NFL. Jim Harbaugh goes to the NFL. You have a lot of major college coaches that are like, instead of trying to sit around and wait for court rulings, who can I recruit, who can I not? Can I get money out of the boosters to pay the players? We got a payroll to make now. All of a sudden, they're just getting out of the sport because it's absolute chaos. There was inaction by the NCAA years ago when it was clear that NIL was going to be part of the sport. The writing was on the wall. They had a big window in order to set the rules and the parameters. They didn't do it. So state legislatures started making up rules in their state that were going to make it to where, their program had an advantage. Tennessee was that way. Texas was that way. And now all of a sudden nobody knows what the rules are. There's a power vacuum. The NCAA left. and it's got to the point where you have two conferences, essentially the Big Ten and the SEC, and two television networks that back them, which is Fox and ESPN. They're calling the shots, and so everybody else just pretty much has to fall in line and try to figure it out. But the rules are so fluid. I can't imagine anybody would ever, this might just be me as an old guy, but I can't imagine what goes through your head as a college coach. So you're like, yeah, this guy was a tight end for the Cleveland Browns, and but it didn't work out, so let's bring him back to college. To me, that's crazy. If there's a loophole, Kiffin will find it. And he did, but looks like that loophole may be getting closed. So. I don't know. It's as unsettled as it's ever been going into college football season, and I don't know what to make of all of it.
So you add to that, because you made a great point. Not only do you have these rulings coming from the conferences, but now you got what you can do in Tennessee, you can't necessarily do in pick a place, California or Texas or Idaho, wherever. So it's a state by state how it's going to go, whether you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, wherever. So you got that to deal with. Then you got the guys coming back from the NFL. And I used an example before we got on the show today that, you're a hot rod player. You went to the NFL and came back. While you were gone, they recruited me. I've been there spring, summer workouts. You're the man, Taylor. We're starting football in 2 weeks. You're the dude. Okay. And here comes Anji back from the NFL. They're going, he's the guy now. You're not going to play. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm on the horn calling somebody, probably an attorney, going, okay, we got to file something here because they're knocking me down. I can't play because this guy's coming back. So then Dan Lanning from Oregon said, in the story I had this morning, he said, it's going to mess up the locker room chemistry because you got guys going to be mad because I'm going to bump you because this man's coming back from the NFL. So there's all kinds of moving parts. There's nothing definitive. Ted Cruz tried to get it all passed before Congress went on vacation on recess for the Protect College Sports Act. They didn't get it passed. They got to wait till they come back off recess. They keep thinking that's going to be the differential. Is that going to be the differential or not?
Well, federal law always kind of supersedes state law. So,
right.
The NCAA, when they didn't get ahead of this, what they did was they put their fate in the hands of the federal government, which everybody knows how that goes because there's so much gridlock. It's hard to get the two sides to really agree on anything, let alone how are we going to fix college football when that's not really our problem. You got other things going on in the country that don't involve college football, but the NCAA is just pretty much, they're along for the ride. They're just trying to figure out how to get help from the outside to help them do something they should have done 6 years ago. So, I think what we're going to see is we're kind of all at the mercy of the courts at this point and trying to figure out who's going to decide what and what precedent that sets and how that changes recruiting and everything else. I can't imagine being a college coach right now and trying to figure out, there's so many people in the locker room jealous of our quarterback making $2 million a year when they're making, I don't know, 100,000 or whatever. And, so you got all that going on, it's kind of there in the in-between, of the amateur model that ran for years and years and years and the NFL model where they at least have, salary caps and they know what a guy drafted in the first round is going to make. You have that all slotted in and then you have them under contract for a certain period of time. Here, it's just when a guy's tired of it, he's up and out. And then you're trying to go into the portal and replace that guy. So, it's a system that I think is unworkable. I think when you see coaches leave the sport and good coaches leave, that's kind of a signal that it's not working. And hopefully they get it fixed because, this part of the country, a lot of parts of the country, college football is such a beloved thing on Saturdays. And you don't want to have to be following court filings to be able to follow college football. You just want to be able to tune in on Saturday and watch the games.
On the field, between the stripes, who's your top three right now in college football starting the season?
I like Oregon. It pains me to say I like Ohio State. It pains me. They've put a good team together. Right now at the moment, those two for me are really the ones that stand out right now. I think they're probably the strongest going in. There's just so many unknowns about. What we're dealing with in terms of what is the locker room chemistry at these places. what's going to happen? I mean, you get so many players in from different places. You have to see them 2 or 3 weeks on the field to see if everything meshed the way that everybody thought it was going to mesh when they were handing out the money.
Yep.
You know, there's just so many, like I say, with unknowns. Talent-wise, you know, those are kind of the two teams I look at right now. Both Big Ten teams. You know, Big Ten's been winning national championships. SEC hasn't been there, and I know they're itching to kind of get back into that position.
Case in point, I did a show in Boone 2 weeks ago. Had some folks in from App State. 70 new players on the roster since last year for Coach Logan. 70.
Yeah.
So, and I asked the coach I had on the show, one of the assistants, and I said, I would think you're spending more time being a psychiatrist and a psychologist and trying to mesh and team bond. He said, oh, absolutely. Because all these guys coming in, some making big bucks, some aren't. Got to keep everybody happy. Got to make sure that Tom Taylor didn't get mad because Dave Anja, he knows, is making pretty good scratch as an NIL player, and I'm not. So you got to make sure that you don't show favoritism, not just at App State, but all these schools. But when you have 70 new players from a year ago, I mean, that's like a complete redo on your team. Am I right? There's a lot of psychological psychiatry, if you will, trying to get these guys just to mesh before you start talking about X's and O's.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, App State, you know, we like to talk about those power conference teams, but this has really all come downstream.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at a school like, you know, you look at ETSU, for example. You know, you have quarterbacks from Louisville, from Michigan, you know, guys that have transferred in. There's a quarterback battle every year between guys that are coming from, you know, the power schools, and it didn't quite work out there. They want to go somewhere they can play. You know, they have receivers from everywhere too. So, and this is a small part of a football team when you look at quarterbacks and their chemistry with their receivers. You know, but you have them coming in from all different programs, all different terminology. You got to get them all under one roof and just get them taking everything else out of it, the jealousy, who's making what, how's that going, you take that out, you just try to get them speaking the same football language.
Yep.
You know, and so what did this mean in your system? You know, what did they call it there? Okay, we call it this here. Everybody get on the same page and speak the same football language. Then are the guys in the locker room going to like each other? You know, so there's so much that goes into this. And, you know, you look at ETSU, a lot of turnover there as well. I think they're excited about who they have, you know, in terms of players and talent, being able to win this year in the SoCon. But, you know, it's not just a Power 5 thing. I mean, everything that happens, it always just kind of rolls downhill. I mean, you see NIL stuff in high school. You know, and we're to that point now, and you have the one-time transfer in TSSAA, you know, so we're seeing kids kind of scooting around different places. You're trying to keep up with who's going to be where from year to year. So, yeah, it's as hard as it's ever been to cover and to follow as a fan. And the one thing I worry about is, you know, back in the old days, you know, if you recruit a player, you can get invested in that player because that freshman's going to be there for 3 years, you know, 4 years, and it makes it worth it. But, you know, now you look at the roster, you just don't know the players. You know, I wonder what that does with connections with teams. You look at Tennessee, how beloved Peyton Manning was at the University of Tennessee. You know, are they ever going to have a quarterback that beloved again? Because is a guy ever going to stay around long enough again to make it to where there's that connection between the fans and players? If there's not, that really hurts the sport.
Absolutely. Here today, gone tomorrow, and that's what they're going to do. Because the lure of the big money, it's like either they can go to another school. Take Nico, for example. Comes in, everybody heralded quarterback coming in, didn't work out, went on to UCLA. Here today, gone tomorrow. So how long will Faison Brandon stay? I don't know. You know, Heupel must think something because when I got that other kid, Kraft, 4-star, 5-star quarterback from North Carolina in the class of 28, you think, well, you got Faison Brandon.
Yeah.
And you got George Mike. Why would you go get another 5-star quarterback? There's not enough room in the quarterback room. Because probably in the back of his mind thinking, one of these guys is going to bolt.
Yeah.
So you got to always continue to put the Rolodex out there and keep the personnel coming in. So, but you're right. The fans, you know, you get all revved up. There's Dave Anja, our running back this year. You know, next year, where is he? Well, he transferred to Michigan, wherever you went. It's like, so you can't really sink your teeth into the players so you don't know they're going to be there.
Yeah, and ESPN did a great story. I think it was earlier this week, late last week, on just trying to chronicle what the quarterback transfer portal looks like. I mean, you have guys who are, you know, there's a guy that went on a visit to a school. I think he went to Penn State. He was going on a visit. He thought, hey, this is going to be great. I'm going to sign here. they came to him in his hotel room. He was going to meet with them the next morning and said, no, another guy committed, so he got the spot. So, musical chairs for these guys, and it happened so fast. And, I just looked at that and said, man, if I were a coach and I were caught without a quarterback, I would not want to be trying to get a new one this way, where you're speed dating through and trying to figure it out. In the old days, you get a quarterback, what you want to do is be able to get a guy from high school, talk to all his coaches, you talk to people in the community, what's this guy like, what's he all about? And you're getting a solid person, solid player into your program that fits the system, what you do. You have it's something like a 48-hour window where all the quarterbacks are gone.
Mm-hmm.
You're making decisions very fast. You don't know if the guy's the right fit. So from that standpoint, I understand trying to stack quarterbacks. Now, you bring a guy in and he sits for more than a year, even might be less than that.
He's gone.
He's looking at that portal.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you handle it. They're better men than I am to be able to get sleep at night, knowing what they have to worry about in terms of guys getting up and leaving.
Saw Kirby Smart in an interview a couple of weeks ago, said it's 24/7 now, 365. Used to be, and he used the example, he said in February when I was usually at home with my family, I'm at the Atlanta airport picking a recruit up because he's looking at me, he's looking at Texas. He's like, I got to go meet him. So he said it's 24/7, almost 365. You work like a dog to get him. You got to work like a dog to keep him.
Yeah.
Because the guy down the street, if he has a good season going, hey, Dave Angie, we paid you this. You want to come down and play for us? We're going to pay you that. So he said it's a constant upheaval trying to get him and trying to keep him. Having said that, final question before I let you go. Faison Brandon, named the coach, or the quarterback rather, by Coach Hype over the Tennessee Volunteers. Can he, as a freshman, lead this team to the promised land this year?
I think he's got a lot of support around him. And that's what you want with a freshman quarterback. Obviously, first thing you worry about, consistency. Is he going to look great one week? Is he going to really slide back the next week? You need consistency at the quarterback position. Freshmen are the least likely to give it to you. Now, skill set, a lot of talent. One thing I'll say about Tennessee is everybody thinks about them as a pass-happy offense, and they are. But the one thing is they help the quarterback a lot by being able to run the football. And, they got a great running back recruit this year. They've got a great running back room. So if they're able to run the football like they have in years past, you spread out the field and then be able to run those running backs kind of in the middle, that really that gets a defense to where they're really spread out, spaced out, and will allow him time either through play action or just the general flow of the offense to be able to kind of look and pick out open receivers. It's a tall task for a freshman. A lot of things change in life, but that's one of them. How does he handle being the quarterback at Tennessee? On top of that, not just starting quarterback as a freshman, but you're being paid a decent amount of money to be the starting quarterback at freshman. You don't know how a kid's going to react to that. That adds a whole new variable into it that we didn't have in the past.
Yep.
So, when there's a dollar amount attached to what you do, that can cause you to second guess yourself in ways that guys did not traditionally used to second guess themselves.
Absolutely. What game you covering Friday night?
I got Science Hill, Morristown West. Excited about it. Home opener for Science Hill. Going to be exciting to see them out there. Hopefully a good crowd for that one. Going to be a good Friday night. Hopefully we get some good weather.
Yeah, I just checked the forecast. It's supposed to be 85 Friday, and then Friday night's supposed to be clear and 67. No rain in the forecast,
right.
So that's good. Glad you're back.
Glad to be here.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad he's back. That's good. That's a good segment. Good stuff. We'll come back and close out, take a look at Major League Baseball before we get out of here right after this from Advanced Heat Pumps on the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Dave Angie, sports writer, Johnson City Press, Kingsport Times News.
My name is Michael Vance, Vice President of Advanced Heat Pump Systems. Advanced Heat Pump Systems has been open and providing service for over 35 years. The services we provide are installation and service of home heating and cooling systems. Our company's goal is to provide quality service for our customers. The reason you should hire Advanced Heat Pump Systems is because we offer a dependable, quality, trained technician to service your heating and air conditioning.
It's exciting Elizabethton Cyclone football. Hi, this is Tom Taylor, inviting you to join Coach Eddie Pless and the Cyclone Network this Friday night at Citizens Bank Stadium as the Cyclones host their longtime rival, the Tennessee Vikings out of Bristol. The team will be playing for the 90th time this Friday night. Airtime at 6:50 with the pregame show. Kickoff at 7:30, audio and video. The Cyclones and Tennessee High. It all starts at 6:50 this Friday night here on the Tom Taylor Sports Show Facebook page and on YouTube. Go Elizabethton Cyclone football. Clothing stores around the region. Why do you think we should come shop here with you at Blakely Mitchell?
Well, first of all, it's our customer service. When you walk through that door, you're going to be waited on. And we're not here for a number, you're a name to us. So we know your size. We can look at you and tell you size. We can pick out stuff for you, and we've got the inventory to show it to you. I keep my own in-house alterations so I can fix it when I sell it to you. We've carried so much, and our customer service is so good. That's what we're known for.
Absolutely.
And being a family store, it's family too.
Yep. Hours are open at Blakely Mitchell.
We're here 10 o'clock to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and 10 to 5 on Saturday. But usually the door's open at 9:30 most of the time, anyways.
Be loyal, buy local. Men's Clothing Store, Broad Street, Kingsport, State Street, downtown Bristol. Men's Clothing Store, Blakely Mitchell, proud sponsor of Cyclone Sports and the Tom Taylor Sports Show. And back on the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Appreciate those guys very much coming being on the show today. Let's take a look real quick at Major League Baseball. Who's playing where on this Wednesday, August the 26th? A couple of day games. We've got actually several day games to be exact. Let's turn this up just a smidge. See if I can get a little bit more. There we go. A little bit more oomph. At 1:10, factor underway. Tampa Bay, Detroit today. Freddie Peralta's on the mound for the Rays today in Detroit. The Cubs will be in Arizona this afternoon. Reds in San Francisco. Nick Lodolo will go at 3:45 with the Reds in San Francisco. Cleveland and the Angels in L.A. Philadelphia and Seattle. Jesus Luzardo will go for the Phillies today. And Woo, W-O, the last name for the Mariners, in Seattle this afternoon. Pirates in San Diego. Under the lights tonight, Red Sox in Miami. Sonny Gray on the mound at 16-3, having a year for the Red Sox. Colorado and Washington, the Yankees, will be hosting Houston again tonight. Kansas City, Toronto, Milwaukee will be in New York to battle the Mets. Braves have the Dodgers back in town. Sasaki will go for the Dodgers, and Smith-Shawver counters for the Braves. 7:15 start in Atlanta today. Texas and Chicago. Mackenzie Gore goes to the Rangers. Evan Carter did not play yesterday for the Rangers against the White Sox, and they'll play again tonight in Chicago. Baltimore at St. Louis, and Minnesota against the Athletics. Your standings in the American League: Tampa Bay 3.5 better than the Yankees in the East. Boston has won 5 in a row and 8 out of 10, still putting pressure on the Pinstripers. Red Sox only 5 games back in the East. Chicago White Sox lead Cleveland by 2.5 in the Central. Minnesota 5.5 back. In the West, Houston a half game better than Texas, and Seattle 2.5 back. That is a wild and wacky tight American League West division. In the National League, the Braves lead over the Phillies at 4.5 right now. Milwaukee leads the Cubs in the Central by 5.5, and the Dodgers a 9.5 game lead over San Diego, and Arizona 10.5 back. In the NL West, the wild card would stop today. Yankees, Boston, and Cleveland would play. Texas a game out, so that third spot, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that the Yankees and the Red Sox will be those top 2 teams. Cleveland will, at this point, be that third team if it will stop today, and it won't. We keep telling you we got to the end of September. We got almost a month and about 10 days left in baseball before we decide that wild card race. In the National League, it's the Cubs, the Phillies, and San Diego. Arizona 1 game back in the NL West wild card. But if you stop today, it'll be the Yankees, Red Sox, and Cleveland, the Cubs and the Phillies and San Diego in the National League. NFL preseason football tomorrow night. The Raiders. My boys will be at home against San Francisco tomorrow night in the preseason finale. Steelers in Buffalo. New England will be in Cleveland tomorrow night, and the Rams play the Chargers for the bragging rights of L.A. Hello, boys. How you doing? How's it going? Doing good? On Friday, Washington and Baltimore. Houston will be in Carolina. The Dolphins hosting the Falcons in the Bird game. Atlanta and Miami will be the Falcons and the Fins. So it won't be a Bird game, it'll be the Fins and the Falcons. Tampa Bay and Jacksonville Friday night. The Giants and Jets at MetLife Stadium. Green Bay and Lambeau hosting Arizona. The Bengals will be in Philadelphia on Friday night. Also, the Saints at Dallas at AT&T Stadium. Seattle at Kansas City, and the Vikings will be in Denver. On Saturday, the final two games of the NFL preseason, the Colts hosting Detroit, and the Titans on Saturday evening hosting the Bears at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. That's a look at the NFL. We've covered it. Last night, volleyball, it was East beating the Lady Cyclones 3-1. Dobbins Bennett beat Westridge, and Science Hill defeated Tennessee High. It's the ones we've got from last night. T.A. Duggar football coming up today. They take on Sevier. Of course, church night. We've got some responsibilities there. We can't do the game tonight, so we'll be watching and cheering on the Fighting Cyclones. They are 2-0. They've outscored their opponent 70-14 at this point. They'll play a Wednesday night game tonight at the stadium, right around 7 o'clock for the varsity. And so go Cyclones, and the JV will play at 5:30. And so that'll be tonight. That'll be going on at Citizens Bank Stadium actually this afternoon. The Cyclones and the Sevier Warriors out of Kingsport for T. Duggar Fighting Cyclone football. Before we get out of here, let's give you the verse today. We always give you a verse and honor the man who hung on the cross, because it's all about him. Psalms 5:3 simply says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my request before you and wait expectantly." We always dedicate our show to the man who hung on the cross, and today certainly no different. Psalms 5:3, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my request before you, and I wait expectantly." Good way to end it. Thanks for watching the show. Big thanks to Coach Micah Hughes and Terry Moore from Providence Academy. A big thank you, of course, to Andrew Smith, sports writer, Johnson City Press, and just now Dave Angie, sports writer for the Johnson City Press, Kingsport Times News. They represent both papers, and so thank you to those guys. Tomorrow will be at the Duck Crossing. Jeff Birchfield will be along tomorrow from the paper, talking NASCAR, getting ready for that final big race. You got 3 spots and 7 drivers trying to get there. And they'll run it this weekend at the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona before we start the chase next week in Darlington for Labor Day weekend, the Southern 500. So we'll talk to Birchfield tomorrow. Got some other guests lined up, including, obviously, Misty Counts and Sarah from the Duck Crossing Antique Store in downtown Elizabeth. And then Friday, we'll kick off the weekend and wrap up the work week. We'll be at Food City and Grail on Food City Friday, coming up again, obviously, this Friday. So until then, we'll say, as always, bloom where your planet, and win or lose, be a good sport. And thank you for watching show number 2561 of the Tom Taylor Sports Show, live today at Chick-fil-A in Johnson City on People Street, home of the chicken and waffle sandwich that's blowing out the door. Been watching the trays go by here. There's a lot of people buying that chicken and waffle sandwich. This has been out since Monday. It's only been out 2 days. And also the s'mores milkshake, and also the caramel coffee. Good new entrees here. Peach milkshake's gone. And so new entrees, and now it's the s'mores milkshake, the chicken and waffle sandwich that's served all day long, 2 waffles, some syrup if you want it, and a chicken patty. Again, that is all going on all day long here again at all Chick-fil-A's, the chicken and waffle sandwich. And so good way to get you a good lunch right here with the waffle fries. And again, that the classic maple syrup, classic syrup as well for the chicken and waffle sandwich, and also, we said, the s'mores milkshake. All right, we'll see you back here tomorrow at Duck Crossing Antique Store in downtown Elizabeth. Until then, as always, bloom where you're planted, and win or lose, be a good sport. Thanks for watching the show today from Chick-fil-A, People Street in Johnson City. Show number